Guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, guys? What's good, guys? Yesterday we saw something very sad, to be honest with you. Very, very sad. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. If you give the like button a little smash. Yeah. Guys, yesterday we saw something very, very sad. We saw something that, yeah, it was hard to watch. Evander Holyfield, um, is a legend in boxing. He's an absolute legend, the real deal Holyfield. They used to call him the real deal Holyfield, and he was an icon. Hello, my man, Andrew Lario said, hello, my man. I catch a live of yours. I love your channel. Thank you very much. What's going on? Who's Facebook user? I can't see your name. It says Facebook user. But yeah, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Yeah, yesterday we saw Evander Holyfield at 58 get knocked out in a round. Probably one of the most horrible sights as a boxing fan that I've ever had to see. Like, it was horrible, horrible to watch. Horrible to watch. A legend like that, yeah, that was horrible, guys. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. Lykestra, what's going on, brother? Yeah, it was sad indeed, man. It wasn't great. Let's be honest, it wasn't great to see a legend like that get. Yeah, that was sad. It was sad, man. What's going on, Curtis? Yeah, it was sad, to watch. It was hard to watch, a legend like that just being beaten up like that. And you know what? If that was a real fight, I would be upset with the referee to stop that fight because I thought it was premature. But I'm happy that the referee stopped the fight because that fight was only going to end in one way. It was like Evander Holyfield is completely shot to bits. Like, Evander Holyfield was known for having one of the greatest chins ever. Like, that man was tough as anything. And literally, this guy was getting hit and hurt by an MMA fighter. Like, and like I said, Evander Holyfield has been in with them all. He's known for having a granite chin. Everybody that's followed and knows about Evander Holyfield, like, Evander Holyfield was before my time, but I researched his career, watched his fights. Evander Holyfield had a solid granite chin. When you call granite, that Evander Holyfield, if you look up granite chin in the dictionary, Evander Holyfield will be a guy a picture that you would see. He was a beast. A beast. Holyfield was a beast. Guys, smash up the like button. I'd appreciate it. Smash the like button. Everyone in the live stream, smash up the like button. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's answer some of your questions. When does enough become enough? 58-year-old man against a mid-40s, yeah. 58-year-old. 58-year-old. It's crazy. My dad's 58. Can you imagine? Like, I go to the gym and sometimes now I'm 29 and I feel like, sometimes my body's ache. Imagine what it is for a 58-year-old. Then a 58-year-old that's been through wars and training camps and had tough fights and flipping hell. I can't imagine what it would be like for that 58-year-old. Jaso, how are you? Jaso Hernandez, how are you, brother? It says, hi, Imran. Greetings from Mexico. Greetings to you as well, brother, from the UK. More Point says, he should find other ways to make money with the name he made over the years. Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm pretty sure he must have like businesses or he must have other ways. I'm pretty like, surely he's not come back for the money. Surely it's just ego and wanting to fight. And, surely he's not back for the money because he's broke. That guy must have made must have made hundreds of millions with Evander Holyfield. So hopefully he's not back for the money. Guys, everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd appreciate it. Give that like button a smash. Curtis Allen says, all-time great or not. 58 is far back the expiry date. Someone's going to get hurt really badly. Yeah, I'd agree. 58 or not. Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great you were. 58 is 58, It doesn't matter how great you were. It doesn't matter how hard you were. It doesn't matter how tough you were. 58 is 58. Guys, smash the like button. Everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button. What's going on, Major Key Boxing? All good, man. How are you? Lykestra said, wasn't Holyfield a last-minute replacement? Do you think more training would have made a difference or the age was gap? Well, he was a late replacement because De La Hoya was meant to fight. But at the end of the day, come on, we don't want to see an old De La Hoya. I mean, we don't want to see Evander Holyfield. Or Evander Holyfield, you could just tell in his training clips, even prior, I seen him on the back. Like Mike Tyson still looks good. Mike Tyson still looks sharp for his age. So it did when he fought Roy Jones, it actually looked quite good. But this was like Evander Holyfield, you could clearly see Evander Holyfield from his training clips that Evander Holyfield is well gone. Like he shouldn't be anywhere near a boxing ring, you know. But fighters are delusional and they have egos, so they believe they can still do it, even though they may not be able to. They'll in their head they believe they can do it, and that's when it becomes dangerous. That's when that becomes dangerous, when they still believe they can do something when really they can't. They can't do it anymore, you know, and that's a fact. He can't do it anymore. Curtis Allen says he was already training to fight Kevin McBride, but got cancelled to COVID. Oh, okay, yeah, the guy that Mike Tyson beat, yeah. Still, I don't really want to see. I don't really want to see because like Evander Holyfield is going to end up getting beat to guys that, you know, he would have beaten easily in his prime. So yeah, it's not something that I really want to see, and I'm pretty sure it's not something that any of you want to see. You know, it's not a great watch. It's hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch that stuff. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It's really hard to watch that kind of stuff. Curtis Allen says, yeah, people forget the punishment Holyfield experience in his career. Man's been in some battle. Yeah, he's been in some hard fights, some tough fights, some wars, you know, some really hard fights. So yeah, it's not safe. I see he looked in great shape. Yeah, he did look in great shape, but being in good shape, getting aesthetically in good shape is possible, but going in a ring and fighting is two different things. He's talking about fighting Mike Tyson again. I won't want to see that, especially if they do that for real, because Mike Tyson's still in somewhat good shape, and he's still very good, you know. And Evander Holyfield is not at that point where he can fight. So yeah, that's not a fight I'd like to see at all. Major Key says, what up to you as well, Major Key? I hope you're well. Curtis Allen says, nope, I'd see an end to all of this. I'd like to see an end to all of this as well. Yeah. Yes, Naima, what's going on? I hope you're well, man. Long time. I hope you're good, bro. Holyfield's needs to chill out. Yeah, he does need to chill out, man. He needs to chill out. 58-year-old man. He needs to relax. Yeah, bodybuilding and performing are different things. Yeah, they certainly are. Different things, you know. He looked good. He looked in great shape, but yeah, he shouldn't be in a ring. Naima says, Hey has lost it. Fury was literally kill him. Yeah. I don't understand all of that. That was a joke. I don't know whether he planned that with his mate all along. I don't know whether that was a plan. You know what? Let me beat you, and then I call out Tyson Fury for a big payday. That was a joke as well and a half. Imagine being beaten by Tony Bellew twice, fighting your mate who's not a top fighter, and then calling out Tyson Fury. It's a great way of making money, right? Bloody hell. J. Saul Hernandez says, Mike Tyson would kill Vitor in a box. Yeah, he would. He would destroy Mike Tyson. If he would take it seriously, Mike Tyson would take him apart, because Mike Tyson looked good against Roy Jones. Like, I felt like Mike Tyson was, bearing in mind, Mike Tyson hasn't been active, right? He hasn't fought. Roy Jones has been active. And I felt like Mike Tyson was carrying Roy Jones. I think Mike Tyson was taking it easy on Roy Jones. I think if Mike Tyson had gone in, he would have knocked Roy Jones out, personally. But I just think Mike Tyson was carrying him. Devin says, Tommy Hearns v. Jake Paul is the fight to make. Nah. Tommy Hearns, man, he can't even nah, man. That'd be horrible to see, because those guys are long. They're in a difficult way. Do you think Fury will fight Hey after Wilder win or lose? Maybe. Would it shock me? Probably not. Would it shock me? Possibly not. He probably will fight him. Who knows? Maybe he will fight him. You know, it's a money making scheme, isn't it? Burning Desire. It's a way of making money, man. Looking to make huge money. You know, and let's be honest, that fight people will buy it. Wherever you put, you know, you have a go at oh well, Hayes just looking for a payday, this, that, and the other, Hayes shot to bits. People will watch it, man. People will watch it. It's a bit like Khan Brook. We all know that they're past their best, but we're still gonna watch it. We're still gonna watch it, you know. So it's you know, even though we know Fury's in his prime and Hayes long gone, we'll still watch it, and that's why it'll sell, and that's why Hayes doing what he's doing. Canelo should beat Plant pretty convincingly. I think KO within 6. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know within 6. I think he might cause him a little bit more issues than that, but we'll see. Canelo has improved massively. Yeah, he has. He's a great fighter. He's improved massively. You're right. Wouldn't mind seeing Silva v Jake Paul. Silva looked quite good in his transition to boxing. Put an end to this clown. Yeah, Silva's good, man. Silva's actually very good. He's always been a very skilled fighter. You know what I mean? Very, very skilled fighter. My man EK's on in the house. EK, man, long time. Where have you been?
Bro, I've been good. How are you? How you been?
All good, man. All good. All good. Guys, EK's entered the house. So smash the like button. Give the like button a smash. As EK's joined the house. So yeah, EK, man. I'll let you start with the Vander Holyfield stuff, man. That was horrible to watch, man.
I actually didn't watch it because like I didn't feel like watching. It's like a circus, basically. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird.
What do
Um,
you must have seen the highlights of him getting stopped.
yeah, I did. What's it called? Um, it was horrible. Like I don't know how do you let a 50 or 60-year-old dude fight? It's just like
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. Vander Holyfield was like he was past his best like ages ago, like over a decade ago, man. Not
Yeah, but
more
like
than
I feel
not
like
more
in
than one
boxing,
and a
there's no
half
such thing as
decades.
rules. Like you could be like a 90-year-old dude just because you have a
Yeah.
name, and if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have the ability to make some money, like they'll like put a line in front of you. Like, oh sure, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, can
Yeah.
I'll be right back, man. I just gotta go pick up something from upstairs, and I'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
back. Okay, you carry on. I'll be right back.
No
Sorry.
worries, man. No worries. No worries. So Devin. So Devin says Silva would KO Jake badly. That fight doesn't make sense at this point. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. Jake is him and Tommy Fury makes sense. I think he might even beat Tommy Fury. Who knows? Do you think Mauricio Lara will fight in the UK again if Josh won't fight him? I actually enjoy watching him. Possibly you could fight Lee Wood, right? Or you could fight Galahad. Who knows? They're good fights. Wasn't impressed with Tommy Fury last fight. Yeah, I wasn't as well. He fought the MMA fight. He didn't look very good, did he? He looked bang average. Let's be honest, guys. Everyone in the stream, if you can smash the like button, I'd really appreciate it. Give the like button a smash. I'd really appreciate it if you can smash the like button, guys. Curtis Allen says doesn't make sense. Just more fantasy to see Paul get KO'd. Haha. Yeah. I think why does everyone want to see Jake Paul get KO'd, man? Who cares? Let the guy carry on. You know, I mean, I don't really have a problem with Jake Paul. It's like people wishing bad on somebody just because they want to see him get knocked out. Because who cares, man? I don't really care. Right. Let you know, if he's making his money, let him make his money, man. He's doing it. He's made a name for himself and he's found his niche to make some good money. Fair play to the guy, man. Fair play. My man Steven, what is going on?
What's up, my man? What's going
I'm all good,
on?
man. All good. Long time, man. Long time. I don't speak to you for like a week and it feels like, yo, man, where's Steven gone?
I know, man. I've been having to, catch up on some business and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So time been
Fair,
limited.
fair play, man. Fair play. But it's good having you, man. It's good having you. Christian, sorry, Steven, I seen your message on YouTube, man, on the comment on the video, man. I'm gonna leave it to you. Evander Holyfield was a killer back in the day, man. He was a monster back in the day. One of the all-time. Well, I mean, when you say the word killer, that describe and you look at the word killer in the dictionary, you'll see Evander Holyfield's picture, right?
Exactly.
Evander Holyfield was one of the
Exactly.
greatest of all, like one of the greatest cruiser. He's definitely the greatest cruiserweight of all time and one of the all-time great heavyweights. That was sad to see yesterday, Stephen, man. That was sad to see him get beat up by an MMA fighter who's in his 40s himself.
It was real sad, man, because here's the thing, man. A lot of these boxers, they don't have anybody to advise them as to what they should do after their careers are gone. Like Evander Holyfield, he has a whole legacy. You know what I'm saying? He has a legacy of greatness. And it just kind of it puts a damper on it when you see him go out in that fashion, like by MMA fighter. You know, yeah. You know, number one, he's you can see that he's physically too old to be fight.
Yeah,
you know, the dude 59, 58 years old. And it's just because, you know, he's just making a spectacle out of himself. Like, where's his wife at? Where's his kids at? Where's his homies at to tell him? I mean,
he's got 11 kids.
Yeah, and so you mean to tell me not name one of them 11 kids said, you know, hey pops, this is a bad idea.
He said that they did tell him. He said they did tell him, but he was stubborn. Apparently, his kids did tell him not to fight. You're too old, Dad. You know, but I don't know. Maybe he's just too stubborn. I don't know. Maybe his ego. I don't know. Or maybe he was just a money man.
Just money thing. I don't know. I mean, he should have enough money in his bank account, man, where he should be cool. You know.
Yeah.
You know. It was just sad to see that, man. Hopefully he learned his lesson.
No, he didn't learn his lesson. He called out Mike. He basically said, I want to fight Mike Tyson in the trilogy.
Oh, he's stupid. He's stupid, man.
And you know, Mike Tyson. You know, if they were to fight for real, Mike Tyson, for me, was carrying Roy Jones in that fight. Mike Tyson looked good. Even though Mike Tyson's 50 plus as well, Mike Tyson looked good. Like I'm saying, when I seen him fight, he still looks like he's got, you know, he could do some damage, you know what I mean? And you can tell even from his training clips, he looks good, you know? Whereas Evander Holyfield, you can even tell when he's on the pads and stuff, he looks terrible, man.
Yeah, he looks terrible, man. He looks terrible. Like Mike Tyson, now I disagree with you a little bit in that Roy Jones fight. I think it was I just didn't enjoy it because you seen the age in both of them. But Mike Tyson didn't look that bad. He didn't look that bad. He didn't look like Mike Tyson of old, but he definitely looked like he'll give Evander Holyfield a royal beat.
Yeah. I think Mike Tyson would batter Evander Holyfield at this day. I think Mike Tyson would beat the guy that Evander Holyfield got beat by.
Yeah, Vitor Belfort. Yeah,
Vitor Belfort. Yeah, I think he'll beat him. Like I said, Mike Tyson for me still looked decent, man. He didn't look for a 50-year-old. He looked good, whereas Evander Holyfield looked bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Evander Holyfield looks bad. Man. He don't need to be fighting no more, man. Period. Point blank. Sit down somewhere.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. I'd agree. Mike Tyson, and I don't really want to see that fight, to be honest, because I think it's a joke, innit?
I'm sick of all these joke fights, these hypothetical fights. Like Keith Thurman, he don't need to be fighting Gervonta. Who else? I'm sick of all the Logan Paul fiascos that's going on. I'm sick of all that. I want to see good fights, man. I want to see fights that need to be made within weight classes. Everybody's equal in talent and kind of stature. I want to see those fights, not these fantasy spectacle fights that, you know, the industry seems to be making the transition towards.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, man. It's getting a bit out of hand now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. But you know what, Imran, you know who looks pretty good as a fighter, man, as a boxer, that I really would like to see more of is Anderson Silva.
Yeah, Silva, yeah. He put that guy to sleep yesterday, man. Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, he sure did, man. And you know what, that was kind of sad to me too.
Yeah. Ortiz was a legend as well, wasn't he?
Oh, he sure was, man. It's tough seeing those fighters, man, go out like that, man, when they just won't hang the gloves or the pads up, man. They just, you know, you got to hang them up, man.
We can't make Spence Crawford. And stuff, but some of the legendary fighters of the past are showing the way, or showing the way even in their 50s on how it's done and how it used to be done in the olden days. They're coming back and fighting, whereas these young ones are still doing what they're like, still acting the way the current fighters act, man. They don't fight each other, man. We can't get Teofimo, Javante, Ryan, and all those guys in the ring. And yet, you know, we got the old generations fighting each other. It's sad, man.
It's sad. It's real sad, man. It's despicable, man. You know, I give I give anything in the world to see Teofimo and Javante go at it, man, or Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You know, stop all this talking, man, and let's get the scrapping, man.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, man. They're not fighting each other, man. They're not fighting. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about Valdez and Conceição, Robson Conceição. I didn't get your opinion about the PEDs and the failed test, and then obviously the fight itself. How did you see it, man? What do you make of that whole fiasco, man?
Man, it was just that. It was a fiasco of sorts, man. I think, man, you know, I'm gonna get some criticism for this, but Oscar Valdez, man, I mean, there seems to be some evidence indicating that he was indeed cheating. Okay. I don't know as to, you know, whether, you know, how much the phenamine helps or hurts a fighter. I can't attest to that, but I do know that that fight was close, man. That fight was close and it was controversial, man. A lot of people seem to think Oscar Valdez lost that fight, man. I think I think Eddie Reynoso, I think Canelo, the Eddie Reynoso camp, man, I think there's a lot of shadiness in that camp, man. I think they do things kind of under the radar and they're getting caught for it. I don't know if this is going to be a revelation of sorts when Canelo fights, but man, there's some, where there's smoke, there's always fire.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, man. Yeah, there's
what do you think?
Fighters in that camp that have tested positive.
Yeah, too many fighters, man. And man, like I said, man, there's some truth to it, man. There's some unscrupulous dealings going on in that camp, man.
What needs to be here's the thing though, what needs to be done in boxing to kind of because here's the thing, you can't just ban everybody for life. And you know why? Because every case is different. Sometimes there could be some banned substance in something that you take a drink over the counter, right? I know as an athlete, you're responsible for what goes in your body, but just if you take a drink and it doesn't even have that much impact on your performance, it's a pre-workout or something like that, right? But there's something in it that, you know, that's banned, for example. So you can't ban. That's why you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard in boxing because you can't just set a rule. And then with boxing, it doesn't help itself. We've got so many commissions. Different people see different. See, that drug, phentermine, was banned by WADA, but WADA didn't see that as a banned substance. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I see where you're coming from. So this is the thing, Imran. Listen, check me out, man. Check it out, dude. All right, these fighters, man, they make multiple millions of dollars on one bout. So go get you a nutritionist, somebody who's gonna cook for you, and somebody who can make sure that you buying all the things that are lawful. You can't just, you know, just because. And I know as a boxer, man, that's what you do. You have to forfeit the luxuries of the average person. You just can't afford to go out and go down to the taco stand and go get your carne asada taco. You gotta eat, and you gotta do everything by the book because you're a boxer. You know, so go get you a nutritionist. And you know, it's nothing you could tell me to make me think that Oscar Valdez, Eddie Reynoso, and them couldn't have gotten him a nutritionist to make sure everything was on the up and up.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, man. I have to agree with you. You know, it's definitely it's not good for the sport, man. It's not good for the sport that this is happening. This is happening too much as well. Look how many top level fighters have failed a drugs test of late, man. Too many, man. Too many.
Man, it's pathetic.
And there's people
pathetic,
dying.
Man, yeah, I heard there was some girl that got killed a couple of weeks ago in the box. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Well, she was young as well. She was 18, I think, as well.
Man, that girl had her whole life ahead of her, man. You gotta really, you know what I'm saying, you really gotta, you know, do what's right, man, and try to, you know, try to make these calls the way you see it. You see your fighter getting hurt and your fighter is just not putting up a, you know, that good of a fight, man. Stop the fight, man. That could be that could be a determining factor as to whether or not that fighter lives or dies. You know, eat the right things. Don't get in there and don't let somebody come in the sport, especially somebody like Canelo, break your face with nothing at all. Just imagine Canelo on some type of juice. Canelo, he'll break your neck and not even be trying to.
Yeah. He broke Billy Joe's eye socket, didn't he?
He showed it. He smashed that dude's face in, man. He smashed that dude's face in, man. Dude. And Billy Joe Saunders is you know, to do that to Billy Joe Saunders, man, that shows you that Canelo has some serious power.
Yeah, he does, man. He has some vicious power. You know, he's what we call, he's basically right now, he's a monster right now, Stephen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a monster personified, man. That dude ain't nothing to joke around with.
No. That's why Caleb Plant's giving it the big one right now. I don't know, you know, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing to motivate Canelo, man. What do you think, Stephen? Do you think that's a good thing to do you think that's a good thing to start talking the way Caleb's talking right now?
I don't know, man. You know, man, here's the thing, man. Caleb Plant, man, he's kind of, I feel like Canelo, I think that Caleb Plant is really betting on himself. He's trying to play all the psychological games with Canelo, but Canelo has been in there time and again. Canelo's beaten, you know, he's beaten more champions than Caleb Plant's fought. So I don't know if it's just, you know, I don't know if Caleb Plant really has that confidence. Because, you know, let's not get it twisted. Caleb Plant, he ain't no joke, man. I've been saying it a long time. But we'll see. I mean, maybe Caleb Plant knows something that we don't know. I don't know.
Stephen, Eric's got a question for you, man. Eric says, Stephen, I got a question. Do you still won't give the benefit of the doubt to Reynoso camp, even though they've had several successful VADA tests over the years?
You know what? It's not about me giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's about them giving themselves the benefit of the doubt. They always get caught with something. I'm not the one I'm not a spit the gadget. I'm not Sherlock Holmes. I'm not snooping around in their camp and discovering it. These are things that are being discovered by other, you know, good sources of the media's finding stuff out. They you know, so I'm not the one that's doing this stuff. You know, so it's not a matter of me giving them the benefit of the doubt. They need to give themselves the benefit of the doubt. Eric, nah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with you there. Yeah, it's not. I think they've had several clean, successful VADA tests, but the fact is they've also had 3 fighters in the gym that have failed, which that's shady, isn't it, Stephen?
They're shady, man. I mean, and they don't say that, you know, that they not a good camp or they not one of the top camps in boxing. That's just we just calling a spade a spade. We just calling it how we see it, man. No matter who it, you know, if Jesus Christ, if the prophet, if the prophet Muhammad was here, they say it was it's shady. You know, it's shady, and they keep getting caught. I'm not the ones catching them.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. I'd agree with that. In terms of, do you think Canelo, there's always going to be the asterisk over Canelo's name, like because of obviously Canelo's failed a test in the past as well. Do you think when people go down to look at his legacy and how he's ranked, do you think people will have that asterisk next to his name?
Nah, because he's not a repeat offender. You know, he was only caught one time. So I mean, everybody's entitled to one mistake. So you shouldn't do that to Canelo. But now if he kept getting called, and if this was an ongoing thing. Now when I said that the camp, they camp in general, the Eddie Reynoso camp, not just.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But Canelo, nah, man, Canelo, he's tested clean.
Yeah. What's happened there to Steven's connection? Steven, you there? You there? Steven? You there? I don't know. Ahmed, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about that. I lost connection. But when I'm that Canelo, you shouldn't hold that against Canelo because he don't.
Yeah, you're having some issues there, Steven. Yeah, what's going on, EK? What's going on? EK, you there? Guys, Ahmed?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Can hear you. I want to talk a little bit about the Valdez fight in the sense that Valdez failed. Obviously, do you guys think that Valdez, that fight went ahead, EK? Do you think that should have happened? Ahmed, EK, do you think that was wrong?
I think it was a bit early. It was a bit too soon, and I think it was wrong, to be honest with you.
I think they should have had the fight after he tested negative until maybe a month down or something, because and I also think like not every situation that a fighter fails a test is the same. It's not this isn't Jarrell Miller, you know what I mean? Or the guy who was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua. This is like so I don't think but even then I still think he should have been stripped. If the fight was going to happen, but or they should have waited like a month down the line where like his system would have been cleared. But I don't know. I just I think it was like it was a lose-lose situation for Valdez this fight.
Yeah. I'd agree. So you know what, Jonathan Ramirez, thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. He says snack fighters have been caught. PED. So Haney and Plant, Andre, and everyone that's on snack should be suspects. None of them enroll on with VADA. Stephen, I'm gonna come to you with this. So Jonathan Ramirez makes a good point. Snack fighters, who we know that I think Victor Conte is the man there, right? He basically, Jonathan Ramirez is saying that snack fighters have been caught for PED. So Haney and Plant, Andre, and everyone that's on snack should be suspects. None of them are enrolled with VADA. What do you make of what Jonathan Ramirez is saying there, Stephen?
What he's saying is true. They've been they've had some questionable dealings in the past too. Look, man, I'm saying that everybody, it don't matter what camp or what branch you come from, everybody needs to play by the rule. They all need to enroll with VADA. That way, what I'm saying, we as the boxing fans and the boxing community as a whole, we can rest assured that we're watching good, clean, equal, non-cheatable fights.
And I also think there's too many organizations, just like the belts. Like UK has different drug regulations than California. And then Texas had different even through the hand wraps, there's different regulations in each state, each country. There's too many different rules. There should be one thing. There's even like something as simple as how high the shorts can be in some states is a little, like it's like so many different things. There's so many different avenues, so many different rules. Maybe what he took is like legal in other states. Maybe, who knows? Maybe if he didn't sign up with WADA, no one would have known about this.
That's a good point, man. I mean, that's a good point. Everybody kind of does their own thing. Vegas, they do their own thing.
And Texas is completely different. And then, like I'm sure if there's a fight in Canada or in Toronto or somewhere, it's completely different, like rules and parameters. It's too many different things. And UK, I'm pretty sure like
Yeah.
Billy Joe's failed something that was like
Yeah, he
only
did.
in the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah, he did.
It
He
was
did.
banned only in the UK.
Nasal
Apparently.
spray. Nasal
Yeah.
spray. He failed from a nasal spray.
And also, I want to say one more thing. Like fighters from like third world countries, like, or I don't know if Mexico's third world. Like, say if there's a fighter from like Africa or like Argentina, like they're not going to have the same type of meat or same type of like nutrition as people in like California, right? So I do buy sometimes that like if a fighter is at a restaurant in a different country, like they might get something in their system. Like it's
But did you
impossible
know?
to know every restaurant you go to. Every restaurant you go to, it's impossible to know if it's like grass-fed beef or
Did,
grass-fed like chicken or non-antibiotic chicken, like whatever. Even what we're eating right now, like if you go to McDonald's, like or something like that, no one is 100% sure what's like,
But
unless you like
Stephen makes
stop.
a good point, though, EK. Stephen makes a good point that as a boxer, it's your responsibility to know what's going in your body because you're doing something that's very you're doing something that's very dangerous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
So I'm just
you're
saying, like the only
responsible
way,
for
yeah,
what
the
goes in
only
your
way to
body.
have like 100% clean sheet is never to eat out, basically, to have your own farm, you know, to know your farmers, like, you know, the diet team, the nutrition team has to be on point. Not everyone's at that level. Not everyone's at the Canelo level where everything they can
You
afford
make
all
a
that.
good
You know,
point.
if a guy's from like a village in like Pakistan, like or something, you're not gonna have the same type of nutrition as
Yeah,
like.
you make great point. You make a great point there. You make and
Eric,
Steve, I'm gonna put that point to you. Is that, for example, if Canelo Alvarez is born, he was born poor. Like he was born, you know, around food stalls, around, you know,
Guadalajara.
yeah, where exactly. So he was born around there where, you know, he was poor. So he probably when he was young used to go and eat from these food stores and have tacos and stuff. Is it fair to tell a fighter that, you know what, you're not allowed to go to those food stores anymore? You can't eat there because, you know, they may have contaminated meat and that you may test positive. Is that fair, Stephen?
yeah, it's fair because you know what, you just made $40 million out that fight. So take a couple $1 million of that money and go get your nutritionist. Ain't no
No,
excuse to
I'm
be.
saying I'm not talking about Canelo. I'm just talking about like boxing as a whole. Like there's fighters that are like, you know, coming from poor backgrounds. They're not gonna have an ability to like screen every food they're eating. Like every restaurant they go to, like you can't go to any restaurants because not everyone
all,
has pristine meat.
all the fighters that we know and that you know, all the fighters that we keep up with, you know,
Yeah,
not
the A-listers are different than like the majority of boxers, right?
yeah. So if you can't afford it, that's another thing. But guess what? Those fighters are making they're making their name right now, and still they'll be A-listers. You know, so
Yeah.
once you get up in stature, you need to take some of that money that you're making. Even
Yeah,
these
100%,
fighters.
100%. But I'm just talking
Oh,
about the lower tier fighters. I'm not talking about like the Canelos, the Andre Wards, the Floyd Mayweathers. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
But even then, like Floyd ate at like burger joints. Like you
right.
never
Yeah,
know
but
what kind of meat you're eating.
those are the ones that are failing, though. Those are the ones that are failing the test.
Yeah, 100%.
Canelo, Oscar Valdez, and, you know, the Billy Joe, all the rich ones, all the ones that have got money, they're the ones that are failing the test.
Yeah. I think boxing is from the get-go has been a corrupt sport, man. It's never. I think we think too highly of like how things should be in boxing.
The thing is, it's the lower ones that are really, the lower ones aren't really getting tested, so we don't really know what they're up to because they're not considered as important. But if you look at the ones that are at the top, the A-listers, they're the ones that are testing positive because they're being tested. And obviously, there's people that die in this game. You know, there's people that have died, and I just think
Imran, I bet you if they tested every single fighter and every single like with the same criteria as the top guys, there'll be like drug fails every other day. It's just, you know, like Cristiano Ronaldo probably gets tested more than some guy fighting at like the Sunday League. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it's just the way it is. Like if they're testing everyone like they were testing Canelo, Golovkin, Anthony Joshua, then everyone would be like most, like I'm pretty sure like 80%. You know how like Tour de France, everyone's
Mm.
failing because they're testing everyone. You know, they're not
Mm.
only testing the top 10, or so drug testing
But
is costs a lot of money too. You have to
guess
pay a
what?
lot of money for that.
Guess what? We live in a world where there are rules. This world is governed by laws, rules, etc. And we all had to play by the rules to some certain extent. Like I
Yeah,
can't get in my vehicle and drink and drive because I like beer.
yeah,
I can't do that. So
yeah.
I gotta follow the
Steven,
rules.
all I'm saying is there's different rules for people who are rich and people who are like boxers who are A-listers and
But
boxers who are like no names. Just like real life, there's a poor man court and a rich man's lawyer. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
just
but but
it's
what
a
I'm
messed
saying
up world we live in. It's just like I think um, there's no real solution. These things are never gonna stop. Like in boxing, in baseball, in basketball, like no matter what, as long as there's a way to like get past others, people with greed is a human, especially in boxing, like from promoters
what
to
if you
judges, everything
what
is everything is corrupt in boxing.
if you ain't getting caught, that's one thing. If you can do it and not get caught, then what you don't know ain't gonna hurt you. But we talking about the people that keep getting caught. That's what we talking about, the repeat offenders. You know,
Mm. So here's the thing, Stephen. If now, for example, in Reynoso's camp, there's 3 fighters that have failed, right? Or in a
Mhm.
same
Who's the
camp.
third one? Who's the third one?
Martinez, Julio Cesar Martinez. So Valdez, Canelo, and Julio Cesar Martinez. What needs to happen? Should there be an investigation? What should happen? If not just in Canelo's camp, I'm talking in any camp.
yeah,
If this is the case where they see, there's something going on here. Do you think there needs to be something put in place where some kind of investigation or?
yeah, man. I mean, at this point, yeah, because it keeps happening. It's almost like they like, so what if we get caught? They got that kind of attitude. Like, so what? Yeah, we cheated. What you gonna do about it? Because we ain't nothing gonna happen because did nothing happen to us last time. It did nothing happen to us the time before.
There's
So yeah,
there's no like what's it called? There's no repercussions because if you give a penalty, then the boxing organizations are gonna lose money. If let's say an A-lister fails a drug test, they don't give a shit because they want them to fight anyways because they're gonna make money off that championship fight. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's no ethics right now in any of the organizations, any of the leading countries who are like, they don't care. They just want money. They don't really give a shit. Like,
So Rich asks a very good question. He goes, speak about Holyfield getting whooped. I don't really like wording it like that, but I'm going to bring you on to this. The fact that we were talking about this sort of issue, should 58-year-olds be allowed to box, Stephen? At any commission, at any state?
No, I don't think so, man. I really don't think so. It's a detriment to their health. And these, you got to think about Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield's mind, he doesn't see himself as he is in the mirror. He doesn't. When he looks in the mirror, he sees himself as the real deal Evander Holyfield. But the truth and the reality of that picture is that he's 59 years old. He's got some brain damage. And let's just go ahead. Let's tell the truth. Evander Holyfield's got some brain damage. His mobile skills ain't up to par. He don't need to be fighting. And at some point you can't leave it up to a fighter to make good decisions for us. So that's why he has a corner. That's why he has a team to make to help him make those decisions. And if the team ain't gonna be making it those decisions, it needs to be the organizations to say, hey, you know what? You 59 years old, you don't need to be fighting.
And this just proves my point. They'll do anything for money. They'll do like these organizations, these like commissioners, these promoters will do anything for money. They don't care. They don't care if he's 80, 60, 40. You know, they just if he can bring in the cash and they'll do it. I don't know what's like. It makes no like. God forbid something extremely bad happened last night. Like sometimes I find it hard to believe that boxing or MMA is still like legal in this like time and age. But like it's just like you have to take every precaution you can. Just last week or a week and a half ago, there was a death of a female fighter. You know, these things you gotta like utmost, like you gotta do everything. Like money should be secondary, but it's not. They'll do anything. If they if you know if putting Mike Tyson in there with a tiger that he used to own, locking over it in cage, if that's gonna make money, they'll probably find a way to do it. Like it's yeah. So when we're thinking about boxing these days, like I think as fans, like we're living in a fairy tale. Like we expect things to happen this way, but it's been a corrupt sport since like Jack Dempsey used to fight. Like you know, like from the get go to now, like you know the roots have been stained. It's always gonna be messed up. But like you know, all we can do is like hopefully from now on, like this doesn't happen. Hopefully they don't even let Oscar De La Hoya fight. I don't want to see that fight. No one's asking to see all these old, like even Mike Tyson. Like I know like he's a cultural phenom. He's like one of the biggest, like not even boxers, any sports personalities to ever exist. Just because he can guarantee you like a few millions, like it's not worth it if like it's just gonna stain the sport. It's just like it's become a huge like circus these days, I think.
You know what? Teddy Atlas made a great point, man. And I'm gonna read this out to you, Stephen. Joe Louis, Ali, Holyfield, only the names change, not the results or the sadness.
Yeah, 100%.
There's 100%, man. 100%. And Eric,
especially
man,
Ali, man, that one hurts me the most. It's just like, you know, the most.
Where's he gone? Oh, go on then, Stephen.
I don't know. But I was gonna say that Eric, I was gonna say that Eric, he was making some good points, man. Just you know, nobody wants to. For me personally, I don't want to see my heroes like Evander Holyfield went out last night, man. That's too much.
Yeah, I know that was bad, man.
Yeah, man. So
yeah, that was bad. That was bad, man. That was bad. That was hard to watch, to be honest with you. Very hard to watch. What do you remember of Evander Holyfield? I know you must be a massive fan of Holyfield, man. You must have watched him growing up and stuff. What do you remember of Evander Holyfield? What are your memories of his great career?
Well, I mean, Riddick Bowe, the trilogy of Riddick Bowe was that was something to behold, man. His fights with Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, all those fights, man. Just like, like in the 90s, like Evander Holyfield was undoubtedly one of the greats doing it. And I'm gonna let you in on a little history. There was a time where I didn't like Evander Holyfield. Like when I was a youngster in the 90s, I used to didn't like him too much. But he kind of won me over with his heart and his no quit attitude. That's what made him so remarkable.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. He had some serious heart, man, and he had a granite chin. He was unbelievable, Holyfield. Unbelievable fighter, man. I remember his fights, man. Like you say, the Riddick Bowe fight, Mike Tyson fights, even the Lennox Lewis fights, man. He showed some true heart. Remember, he wasn't even a natural heavy. Stephen, the greatest cruiserweight of all time, Evander Holyfield.
No doubt, man. No doubt. He was the old school Usyk.
Yeah. Would he have beaten Usyk? Would he beat Usyk in his prime?
Yeah, he would have pounded Usyk's face in.
Yeah, man. I'd have to agree. What about Evander Holyfield beat David Haye, Stephen?
I think he would have put the things on David Haye too, man. He was a killer.
Yeah, Evander Holyfield was too much, man. He was too much. He was a great fighter. He was a warrior. He was a proper hard man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would have put those boys. I reckon he would have done them both on the same night, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That dude was a killer, man.
Those guys, Usyk and David Haye, are not beating Mike Tyson, even the one that Evander Holyfield beat. No chance. No chance.
Hey, man,
no chance.
There was a time Mike Tyson was a literal lethal weapon.
Yeah, he was
a literal animal. No.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, you wouldn't want to see him in your worst nightmare.
No. He was he's probably, after Ali, Stephen, probably the most iconic boxer ever.
Oh yeah.
After
I even I would even venture to say that I even put him in terms of stardom and fame, I would put him over Floyd.
Oh yeah. Any without question. It's not even close.
What about Ray Leonard?
Yeah, even that. Ray Leonard was big. Leonard? He was big. But globally, I don't think he had the name that Mike Tyson had.
Nope.
Mike Tyson globally.
So who's
Mike Tyson went to India, right? Mike Tyson went to India, and he was like, I'm saying people were queuing up to see him. Like, queuing up to see him. Imagine in India, boxing's not even that big. They were queuing up
man, that's
to
incredible.
see Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Because he's an A-lister, man. This guy's not just like, he's an A-lister celebrity. He could shut down streets wherever he goes. Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah. Mike Tyson was, he's what you would call a phenom. He surpassed celebrity. He's like, Ali, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, position in terms of what you know right now. I'm not saying they have influence, but to equal that. But in terms of notability, about those people, like everybody knows about Alexander the Great, but everybody knows about Mike Tyson as well.
Mm-hmm.
About Mike Tyson, the Great.
Yeah. I'd have to agree. Makai, did you see the fight?
The Holyfield fight.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't buy the thingy or anything, but I saw it happen when I woke up. That should never have happened. The fight should never have happened. I mean, did you see Holyfield's pre-workout that they done, whatever it's called? And he looked insanely slow.
Yeah,
he looked insanely slow and everything. I don't know why they allowed that fight to happen.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. It's like, you can say a not good, when you see a legend gets, beat up like that, and then, I don't know, you could say that like he was almost coming across delusional, like, the referee should have let it go on, and it's because he's just a warrior, and he looks at himself, as Stephen says, still looks at himself as the same Evander Holyfield when he's nowhere near that level anymore.
Yeah, it was very sad to see, and I didn't like how Belfort was celebrating like he's done some amazing thing. Like, it wasn't amazing or great at all. I mean, how old's Holyfield?
58.
Exactly. I mean, it's just how he was celebrating everything, mate. Disrespectful.
But then, having said that, Vitor Belfort is 44 himself. He's an old man as well. This is what I mean. They're all old, man. They're all like old, and he's probably thinking, because he's not even a boxer. Makai. He's an MMA fighter, to be fair. So he's probably looking at it. I beat Evander Holyfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, I think he called out Canelo, mate.
Is
I think he called out Canelo saying he won't. He was like, "Oh, Canelo won't fight me at 185. He's too scared." He said something like that.
No way. He called out Canelo.
That's and then you obviously look at him how he was celebrating, and then you could say, "Oh, he's just being a knob. He's just being delusional."
Canelo.
Yeah,
I thought David Haye calling out Tyson Fury was delusional, right? That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing. Stephen, I don't know if you saw it. David Haye fought yesterday.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, David Haye fought yesterday, and he called out Tyson Fury.
God.
Man, David Haye, man.
Imran, do you think, obviously they were scheduled to fight back in 2013? Who do you think would have won the fight back then?
I don't know. I think it would have been Tyson Fury most likely. I don't know. It's hard to say because Fury at that point was an underdog going into the fight with Haye, but Fury is too big, man. When you think back at it, Fury's so big, and Haye didn't really beat. Who did Haye beat at heavyweight? Nobody.
I mean, he beat Valuev, but I mean,
yeah, but that guy was that big giant that moved like a tortoise, you know.
Yeah, Haye, he was a good cruiserweight.
Yeah,
he was a good cruiserweight, but at heavyweight, he wasn't that good. I mean, especially looking at his performance against Klitschko, like that wasn't great. I mean, he didn't really throw anything. Like, you couldn't, like, obviously that everyone used to like big up his head movement back then, saying he's very slick. I mean, you couldn't even slip Klitschko's jab.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Yeah, it was a very, very one-sided fight, that Klitschko fight. Klitschko completely dominated him.
Yeah, and like how Haye was hyping the fight up, hyping himself by saying, "Oh, I'm gonna knock him out," and then he just comes up with a performance like that. Just wasn't good. Yeah.
He's definitely more than he can chew with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, his skill set is the best in boxing. I think Tyson Fury's skill set, his skill set is the best in boxing. I don't think there's a more skillful fighter than Tyson Fury.
He's the most skilled in the heavyweight division, but I don't think I personally, for me, I don't think he's the most skilled boxer like at the moment. Like, I'd say it's someone like for me, I'd say it's someone like Loma. Here's
what I said. Here's the reason why I'm saying
Crawford.
I'm saying Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury is almost 7 foot tall. And that agile and that just skillful of a boxer, man. You know, Lomachenko, he's not carrying around the extra baggage that Tyson Fury takes around. You know, he has a total round. Tyson Fury is extremely skillful.
He's definitely skillful. It's great how he can move so well for his height, and obviously his weight and everything. You'd wonder, like, if he was like the same weight as Loma, how his skills would be there. But it is what it is. But for me, I still think Loma, man, the footwork and everything, the angles, too much.
Yeah, as Stephen Ray makes a good point. Ray's in the house. What's going on, Ray? Ray says Lomachenko beat bigger guys. He makes them quit. Fury is fighting slow-footed lumberjacks. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point.
Loma has lost 2 times, and he's gotten beat by B plus fighters like Salidos. Salidos is a B plus fighter.
Well, I've got to say something here. Salido, he did hit him like 50 times in the nuts. I mean, that must have done something in the fight. Must have affected Loma a lot. I mean, the ref done an awful job in that fight. But like, Loma obviously lost to Lopez, but I mean Lopez is a great fighter. Fury, to me, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's like he's cherry picking. I mean, it's just like it feels like that's what he's been doing his whole career. I mean, who is he actually like? I mean, Klitschko, that's really it. But like, that was when Klitschko had all the belts. I mean, but who else is he? I mean, I don't really rate Wilder. I mean, Fury said it himself. Wilder's a one-trick pony. He's overrated. So I mean, surely that it's not. It shouldn't be a good win.
And then he also said Wilder beats all the other heavyweights in the heavyweight division. So,
well, Wilder. I mean, listen. There's a lot of truth to that. Wilder is a. I mean, he's a puncher, and he will. I mean, he's shown time and time again. How many losses has he gotten? He only has one loss. So, and here's the thing about Tyson Fury. He's fighting the best the best that he has to offer. He's wanting to fight AJ.
No, I mean it doesn't seem like he ever really wanted to fight him. To me, I think Fury's a bit of a fraud. And I also, well, not anymore, because people ain't really talking about Fury anymore. But when he beat Wilder, people were hyping him up massively, like obviously comparing him to like all-time greats. Back then, I would have called him overrated. But now, I mean, does anyone even flipping talk about Fury anymore? Like, I mean, Fury is fighting Wilder on October. I mean, no one even gives a shit about the fight. No one even cares about it. I'm not going to buy the fight or anything. I'll see who won the next day. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, no one really even cares about it anymore.
Well, you know, Ray knows what he's talking about, and Ray always, you know, Ray is one of them guys that you don't want to debate boxing with because he knows more boxing than you. He's forgotten more boxing than you know about. But I just think Ray is kind of off on that because I think that Tyson Fury, you know, for all, you know, pound for pound, I ain't saying like the best boxer, but I'm saying like skill wise and stuff, he's to be commended. Now I may be going overboard by saying he's the best skill boxer, but let's not undercut his abilities.
Stephen, Eric asking you a question. He goes, Stephen, what skills do you think Fury has that makes him better than other fighters in other divisions? So what makes Fury better than skill-wise than Terence Crawford or Errol Spence or a Canelo Alvarez for that matter?
His ability, his offense is just impeccable. You look, man, Tyson Fury, he comes from, let's not get it twisted, he comes from Crunk Gym, man. He was trained by the greatest trainer of all time, Emanuel Stewart. So that dude knows he knows his stuff, and he was one of his top students. Emanuel Stewart even said it before he died. He said, man, Tyson Fury will be heavyweight champion of the world. And if you just look at how he operates in the ring, he's not gonna wow you with his punching ability, but just like his blocking, his just his skills. You know, I mean, his overall skill is evident. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You just look at him and see the beauty in how he operates in the ring.
Is Fury Ray makes a point. Ray says, Greg makes a point. Tyson Fury, I think he's saying, is fighting no one apart from Wilder since Klitschko, or have always been an advocate. If his earlier days, he'd be starting to take a loss me off. Talks to the talk, never walks the walk. So basically, what he's saying is he doesn't fight all the top guys. He hasn't really fought anybody. He's fought Wilder and Klitschko, and he talks a big game, but he doesn't really walk the walk. He says, "I'm going to fight Wilder. I'm going to fight Dylan White. I'm going to fight Anthony Joshua." But he never really walks the walk, is what people are saying. He lets the public down more often than not.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like
check it. Hold on. One second, Makai. Let me make one point.
Yeah.
He beat Klitschko. He beat Klitschko back in the day, and let's not forget that Klitschko. There was a time that Vitaly and Vladimir Klitschko they owned boxing. There was, you know what I'm saying, and Tyson Fury beat him. He didn't beat Klitschko when he was old, and he beat him, you know, like he wasn't the youngest cat, but he beat a solid Klitschko. So what I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is a lot of times it's like, what do y'all want him to do? Y'all want him to be, you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of times these fights can't be made. But Tyson Fury, he's beaten some quality opponents. Deontay Wilder, he doesn't have any other losses aside from Fury. So let's just give the man his props, man. Tyson Fury's the real deal.
Fury is a real deal. It's just a bit like this. It's just right. He talks a lot, but he never does it. It's a bit like this, right? I remember when the WBC they ordered Fury to fight White, and then Fury obviously went out on Instagram because I think the belt was like the interim or something, and then Fury said, "I don't want it for the interim. I want it for the diamond. And then if you can do that, then I'll fight White." The WBC accept his offer. They make it for the diamond belt, and then Fury says. Then Fury then says, or he automatically changes his mind, and then he says he's not interested in fighting White. He labels him as a bum, but then fights Tom Schwartz and Otto Warren. Like the guy's just full of shit. Like even with the AJ thing, it was like he didn't even sound like he wanted the fight. I mean, like he announced it, and then 2 days later, Wilder all of a sudden wins the arbitration. Like that was their plan all along. They already had a stadium, everything was planned, all the broadcasting was already planned, like when Wilder won it, like that's all been planned the whole time. Fury never wanted to fight AJ. Fury is full of shit. He never wanted to fight White either. I mean, I don't even know what's going on with Fury. Honestly, I don't know what's going on with him. Wilder, he's got power. Yeah, Fury's got the footwork and everything to get away from it. It's good.
World, Makai? But I mean, the best heavyweight in the world. If you had to make,
I think Fury beats AJ by the eye test, but AJ he is the number one guy at the moment because he's got the best regime and he's got the most belts. But if you wanted to ask me who wins between him or Fury, then I would probably pick Fury. Yeah, but at the moment. It's AJ. I mean, it's a bit like in the welterweights. I mean, most people think Crawford beats Spence, but Spence, he is the number one guy at the moment because he's got the most belts and he's got the better regime. It's a bit like that for me there, but
let's bring Ash in. Let's bring Ash in. Ash, you there?
Yes, Imran. How are you?
What's good, man? All good, man. It's good having you here, man.
Good, man.
You've been hearing this.
To you guys. Yeah, man.
All good, man. All good. Ash, what do you make of what Makai just said there? Is Fury the best heavyweight in the world?
Is that what Makai said? He's the best? Well, I thought he was saying he isn't.
No. I'm asking you your opinion. I'm asking what do you think?
Oh, okay. Fury is a what do you call it? He's one of a kind heavyweight kind of thing, and that's why he's special heavyweight, and if you know what I mean. So I'd say he is, but I agree with him as well by saying he's not fighting White and AJ, but you gotta respect him if he's fought Schwartz and whoever, but then after that he went straight to the top of it and beat the guys. So even though normally guys that fight guys like Schwartz and stuff, them guys can't beat the number one guy. So he only fought Schwartz and them guys just to get a little ring rust off, because you can't get your ring rust off with a topish fighter like Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? So he's giving his respect to Dillian Whyte. He's not avoiding him. He'll beat Dillian Whyte. But he just came back after a long layoff, and he just took a couple of easy fights just to get back in the ring. And then he didn't need to have another, you know what I mean?
He already had 2 fights. Because he was inactive, and then he fought Wilder the first time, and then there should be no excuse. And I mean, Fury always says anytime, any place, anywhere. That's
but Fury's beat the main guys though. You can't, on paper.
Wilder's not the main guy though.
Well, no one wants to fight him. No one was stepping up. AJ was going back and forth with him for how long?
So many people wanted to fight Wilder. Wilder's probably one of the most protected fighters I know.
No, but you was on about AJ a minute ago saying, oh, AJ didn't want to fight AJ. But AJ didn't want to fight Wilder. It took like, I don't know,
AJ,
what was going on
did
there.
want to fight Wilder. AJ did want to fight Wilder.
What?
Wilder was the one that turned it down. Wilder wanted to fight. Wilder's ducking Wilder's ducking everyone.
Well, you're saying now Tyson Fury and Wilder ducking everyone, and them two fight each other. Then. I don't know.
I mean, bro, believe it or not, when they first fought, Fury was actually a cherry picker first because they saw Fury. He was out for 2 years and everything, obviously abusing his body and everything. They thought it was going to be an easy fight. And then, obviously, Fury absolutely schooled him. I mean...
This is what I'm saying. Fury is a special heavyweight.
He's a special heavyweight.
Yeah, but why... Back to what Imran's saying. You can't compare him to guys like Crawford and stuff because there's a lot of other guys that are not at that weight, but have been at that weight, and many of them that are good, at that size. But what Fury does at his size is not really... I don't think anyone besides Muhammad Ali could do that. You understand? So that's why Fury is better than a lot of them.
Oh no,
in my opinion.
I actually said it like I think AJ is the number one guy at the moment because of his resuming belts. But if you did put them together, but who wins, Fury or AJ? I would put Fury. It's just Fury is a special fight. It's just the guy. He's not backing up what he's saying. He talks so much shit. He just doesn't actually do it though.
I hear that, but when he needs to, he can. That's the point I'm making. If he needs to go and fight AJ on the back of fighting 2 taxi drivers and beating him, he will do that because he's that good. But when you're talking about guys that are not that good and doing that and then back in the talk, then you can understand where the guys aren't that good and he's fighting average guys and then he's trying to talk up a fight with some big guy and he's not doing it. But Fury, when he does do it, he beats the guys. So I think no one beats him.
Yeah. It's a bit like this as well. I mean, Fury, he got asked if he wanted to fight Usyk, and he said he doesn't want to fight Usyk because he's not English. What kind of champion says that?
Yeah, but then you can say the same thing. But you can say the same thing about Canelo, saying, "Oh, I don't want to fight Mexican fighters." Oh no, sorry, was it black or Mexican? Either I can't remember which one. But he said he wasn't going to fight him. But then
did he say that?
Canelo not a champion. Yeah, I'm sure.
I didn't know he said that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember him saying that. I don't know.
He said he doesn't want to fight Mexicans.
One or the other. Yeah. Steve wants someone.
So he's not going to fight Benavidez. He's American. He's actually American. So he wouldn't. He's not going to fight anyone like Gilbert or Ramirez. So basically,
I'm not sure how you want to categorize him, but I'm just saying when you're saying about Tyson Fury that what kind of champion he would say that. So you can say the same thing about Canelo then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Canelo said the same kind of thing.
I'm going to say the same thing about Canelo. I didn't know he said that though. But yeah, Canelo shouldn't have said that. It's stupid.
No, I don't know what Tyson Fury said, but as you know, Tyson Fury has had mental issues before, so you can't really take everything what Tyson Fury says. You know what I mean? To the bank.
Yeah, that is true. But I just need to. The fact of the matter is,
in my opinion, the fact of the matter is, no heavyweight right now. I don't know in the next 5 years. But right now, no heavyweight beats Tyson Fury at his best.
Well, let's hope we get to see these fights then, so we can see. Because as I said, I think he beats AJ and all that. I just don't really like him. Talk shit.
Steven. Ray's asking you a question. He's saying, who wins, Shakur Stevenson or Jamel Herring?
That's the one, right? I might have to go for Stevenson. I think Jamel Herring is I think Jamel Herring is gonna be a tough challenge, but Shakur Stevens, I think that he's gonna be a little too twitchy for Jamel. Well, what does Ray think? What you think, Ray?
I don't know. Let's see. Let him give his opinion, or he can come on if he wants, but it's entirely up to him. He can give his opinion through the chat, or he can come on. But yeah, Ash and Makai, what do you guys think?
Of Shakur and Herring?
Yeah.
Well, I hope Herring beats Shakur. I mean, really like Stevenson, to be honest, and especially what he said to the face-off, saying like Herring has no heart and everything when he was wasn't in the Marines and everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure he has heart. So yeah, it was disrespectful, especially when they like, I wouldn't say friends, or they just know each other. But yeah, I think Shakur's gonna win. He's I think he's all wrong for Herring.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Shakur's special. I think he's going to beat him.
Yeah, he's special. Yeah,
got a great time.
absolutely.
He's not the most exciting fighter in the world, but you know, I think he's really good. I think he's really good.
Did you hear what he said about Loma? Like, he's like, yeah, when I go 12 rounds, I get called boring, but when Loma goes 12, he gets called the Matrix. Yeah, but that's because Loma actually brings the fight. Loma actually fights you, doesn't he? He's not. By the way, I'm not saying Shakur is like, oh, it's bad that that's how he fights. It's boxing, but come on, I mean, he was making it out like fans are being racist. They're not being racist at all. Loma, he does bring the fight, and Shakur don't. Simple as that.
But yeah, Shakur is like different style, so you probably shouldn't be comparing himself to him anyway.
Yeah, he's got different. Lomachenko's more like movement side to side. He's more of a different fighter, where Shakur's kind of like more economical. You know what I mean? He does everything good, more economical, gets the job kind of thing, like Mayweather.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why Shakur's like talking about Loma, to be honest. Like, it's just odd that he mentioned it.
Yeah, he probably just feels a bit upset. That the fact that, you know, he doesn't seem to get credit and people call him boring, whereas other fighters that go the distance, you know, he's not exciting though to watch. I gotta be honest, he's not like, people that understand the sport and they understand, you know, that he's a great fighter, but he's not exciting. Tim Bradley put him on blast as well. Stephen, what do you make of Tim Bradley putting him on blast? I've got a few things I want to ask you about Tim Bradley. What do you make of Tim Bradley's comments that, you know what, Steven's man?
I think Tim Bradley, I think he gets a lot of time. He gets a lot of flack for his comments because they're blatant and they're blunt. But I think a lot of times Tim Bradley, he speaks for guys like me because that's stuff that I think. You know, I think I happen to be in alignment with Tim Bradley on a lot of things he says, and I just think that Tim Bradley, he tells the truth when no one else has the heart to, or when it's not fashionable, or when it's not sexy to tell the truth. But he tells the truth about a lot of things. Tim Bradley's right.
What you think? You agree with him that he's boring?
I think you can be so skillful and so like you said, economical and so conservative that you come out being looking boring. You know, you can overdo it. You know, but you know, to Shakur Stevenson, that's his strategy. His strategy is to hit and not get hit. But I think sometimes they go overboard.
Also, Tim Bradley said that he said on air that I hope Oscar Valdez gets knocked out by Robson Conceição, and he got a lot of flack for that as well, because obviously as a guy that's calling fights and as a guy that's, you know, basically a guy that's, you know, giving his opinion on boxing, do you think a guy should be that, you know, that blunt about saying that I hope he gets knocked out? What did you make? Do you think that was unprofessional, Stephen?
I don't think it's professional. I think the guy's just he had it up to here, and like I said, those types of personality, they're refreshing because they step outside of what's the norm and what you would expect for somebody. You know, you want those people who are outspoken. Like like here over in the States, we have NBA, and there's a former player turned commentator named Charles Barkley, and Charles Barkley is always blunt, but people love him because he says a lot of things that, you know, I'm thinking. He says a lot of things that you thinking. you know, we can't exalt somebody just because they're a commentator. I'm looking for things.
What's that background noise, man? It's loud. Someone's got some background noise. Very, very loud.
Yeah, but like you know, you look for people like that that's gonna say things, you know, that the other dude ain't gonna say. You know, that's why we love Muhammad Ali early on, because he spoke out and he said a lot of things that you know, a lot of people was thinking. You know, a lot of people, you know, felt like that about that, you know, Oscar Valdez. You know, it's like, man, what, you got called? I hope you get knocked out since you cheat. You know, there's just I ain't gonna give him too much flack for that.
I hear what you're saying. So Ray says no Lopez. So what's he saying here? So Ray says,
I think he's debating someone.
No, Lopez isn't, but Lopez was a puncher, a very uneducated and unorthodox. Herring does not fight as a puncher. That's the difference. He fights as a boxer, so he won't try and hunt Shakur. Good point. Yeah. Do you think there's a chance that Jamel Herring might pull off the upset? Jamel Herring's really good, man.
Oh yeah, he definitely can. I mean, he can fight and box. He can fight on the outside and everything. Well, we haven't really I mean, we kind of have, but Herring, he's very good on fighting on the back foot and everything. I mean, he can. Do you know what? I don't think. To me, it might be upset because I think Shakur is all wrong for him, but it shouldn't be called an upset. I mean, Herring, he's the champ, a great fight, beat guys like Frampton, you know, and Stevenson. He hasn't really had good win. He's still very young and he hasn't had a lot of fights. So if Herring would win, it shouldn't really be labelled as an upset. Do you get what I mean?
I couldn't say it better myself, Makai. I feel the same way.
Yeah. I want to come on to Canelo and some of the stuff that Caleb Plant's been saying, man. Stephen, you've been hearing some of the stuff that Caleb Plant's been saying. He's really trying to get under Canelo's head. Basically, he put Canelo on blast, right? He put Canelo on blast, saying that these guys are cheating. These guys are not good for the sport. You know, these guys are, you know, they're cheating. When Valdez failed his test, he then said Canelo's very beatable. Canelo can be beat. And basically Caleb, he's having a go at Canelo Alvarez. You know, he's letting him show that he's not coming up just to make the numbers. He's coming there to win. And what did you make, Stephen, of his rant? What did you make of Caleb Plant going at Canelo like that? Do you think there's some serious beef in the press conference? Do you think Caleb Plant is trying to get under Canelo's head, or do you think this is genuine?
I think it's a combination of all three of them. I think that he's trying to get in Canelo's head. I think he's trying to get in his own head. He's trying to psych himself out, and he's trying to bet on himself at the same time. And I think that he knows that the talking and controversy is good for the building of the fight, the construction of the fight. You know, right? You have to build a platform of controversy for the fight, and you know, one person's got to do it because Canelo. This one thing about Canelo, he ain't gonna talk noise. He don't talk a lot of crap. So Caleb Plant is just trying to hype it up, but I think Caleb Plant really feels confident. I think he really feels like he has the Midas touch, that he's gonna have that touch and do the unthinkable. And you know, that's how you got to be sometimes.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
What do you think, Stephen? So personally, I'm not saying Caleb's going to win, but I think Caleb Plant's going to give Canelo a lot more trouble than what people are giving Caleb credit for. What do you think?
We talked about this in past, and I've always said that Caleb Plant is he's a very good boxer, and I think that if there's anybody who's going to give Canelo a run for his money, I think that you definitely have to say that Caleb Plant has the ability to do it. Of course, I would say guys like Bivol and Beterbiev have a better chance to do it. I mean, those fights aren't makeable. We dealing in the now right now with what we got right now. I think Caleb Plant has a good chance of
What do you think of Caleb getting Andre Ward in his camp?
I think the perception is that Andre Ward is one of the greatest fighters that we've seen in recent memory. So having him is going to be a confidence booster in of itself. But I don't know how much you could learn from Andre Ward in this short period of time. So I don't know how effective and efficient in how smart it was to bring him in. If he didn't do anything else, it's a confidence booster.
Would Andre Ward have beaten Canelo? Right, the Canelo right now 168 against the Andre Ward at 168. Who wins, Stephen?
Andre Ward all day. What do you say?
I think most people would say Ward, and I would say that it's one of those fights where I think it's a lot closer than what people think. I think you have to favor Ward, but I don't know, man. Canelo. See, the thing is with Canelo, right? I just don't know because the guy seems to me getting better and better. So I don't know where his ceiling's at. I don't know where this is going to end. You see where I'm coming from, Stephen? Like
Canelo's not his prime.
Beterbiev to bits and smashes Bivol to bits. Then would we still be saying that Ward would beat him? I don't know, because then it becomes like, because I don't know if Ward would beat those guys. Remember when Ward fought Kovalev, that first fight, I don't think Ward won that fight. Right. So again, it just depends on how good, where does this Canelo train end? It doesn't seem like he's slowing down, Stephen. It seems like he's just going up and up. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, Canelo's still improving, fight on fight. So when's he gonna hit his ceiling where we can say, okay, Canelo's now, that's Canelo? You know what I mean? It feels to me every fight he's getting better and he's becoming more of a monster as he moves in time. You know what I mean?
To me, man, it's obviously, if you ask me who would win, obviously I think Ward would win, but yeah, it would be a good fight. It's not obviously it's getting spoken about a lot, like who would win, Prime or Ward or Canelo, and I was like, oh my god, Ward would school him, it would be so easy. Stop being ridiculous. Ward would win, but it's a good fight. But I think Canelo, he's more better than Ward at moving up and like doing a better job, because obviously, I mean, yeah, fair enough, the Kovalevs wasn't the same, but I mean, Kovalev, he was outboxing Ward badly, like hitting him with all sorts of punches, and Ward got the job done. Well, he didn't get it, in my opinion, but he had success when he got on the inside. He never actually beat him by boxing him. He beat him by fighting him, by getting in the inside, body work. Canelo, he was doing a lot more better than Ward. He was slipping punches. He just looked more comfortable than Ward did. I think so. He didn't get it at 168. Obviously, Canelo, he started at 154. Like 168, obviously, he's doing a better job against bigger guys. Like, I just think he does. I think he's just a lot more better at moving up. He's more comfortable because of his style. Because he's a strong guy, and he's got great head movement. I mean, obviously, if you said who's got better head movement, Ward or Canelo, you pick Canelo, obviously. I mean, Canelo, most people have good head movement. They're successful with their footwork. Canelo, he never uses his feet to like get away from punches. He just stands there, slips them all, and everything is amazing.
What do you think, Ash?
Guys, you all right? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you all right, man?
You can hear.
Hear me,
Guys,
man.
where have we gone?
Oh.
Right?
Hey, man, we can hear.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you all right?
Yeah.
You can hear.
Hear me.
Oh, it's laggy for
you
him.
guys, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Imran?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In behind, I think.
Yeah.
Can you hear you guys? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Imran?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told him to leave and join back. Hey, I can hear you.
All right, what's going on, guys? You there?
You all right? Yeah, we can hear you.
Steve. I mean, you're back, yeah?
What's going on, guys? You there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Steve. I mean,
all right, okay.
you're back, yeah?
Oh, it's...
All right, okay.
You're back, yeah?
Yep. Can you hear me, guys?
Imran, yours is very laggy. Like, we say something, and then it comes to you like 20 seconds after we've actually said it.
Yep. Can you hear me, guys?
Imran, yours is very laggy. Like, we say something.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but...
We hear you perfectly over here. They hear me. Guys, you carry on speaking. I can't hear you. You carry on speaking a sec.
What was we talking about? Was we talking about the Ward Canelo thing?
Yeah, I think Canelo beats him.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you now.
You can hear us, Imran, yeah?
It was muted. Yeah, something happened. I pressed the wrong button. But yeah.
Yeah, no, we were saying.
Hey?
Yeah, we were saying stuff, and then like 20 seconds later, then it'll come to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better now. I think it was muted on Restream, but yeah, it's all good now. Yeah, basically what we were going off. What we were basically saying is Ward. Yeah, it won't be as easy as what people make it out to if he fought Canelo.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ash?
I think Canelo beats him.
You think Canelo beats Ward? What? Why? Give your opinion. Why?
What? 168?
Yeah, 168.
Yeah, 168. I think Canelo would be. Is that your background noise, man? I can't even hear myself.
No. I'm in my room, man. There's no background noise. Makai, is it yourself?
Yeah, sorry, it's the baby crying. I don't know how you guys can hear it though, but yeah, I'll just mute myself.
Yeah, go on, Ash.
Basically, I think if you look at Andre Ward's 168 record, Canelo would be all them guys.
Yeah.
Who's he for?
Yeah.
And I think Canelo hits hard enough. If he was worried about Kovalev the first fight, and he lost that fight anyway. I know Andre Ward's a good fighter, and whatever, everything else. But I've never rated him like that high that maybe other people have. I think Canelo would have hurt him. I think maybe I wouldn't say knocks him out, but I reckon Canelo would have hurt him that fight. Canelo hits hard, and he's got so many skills, too many. He doesn't in his fights up until now. He has not need to take every tool out the bag to use it. He's used a couple of tools, 3, 4, whatever, and he's won the fight. So I think you have too much for Andre Ward. Andre Ward is a jab merchant and run around and hug and a couple of punches and hug. He can't do that. Canelo take a step back and you won't be able to hug him. But anyway, my point is Canelo would beat him.
You know what, Ash? I used to think, you know what? I used to think Andre Ward would beat Canelo as well, easy like Mayweather. But then as I've seen Canelo develop his game and get better and better and better, and then what you're saying is spot on. Who did Ward really fight that was anywhere near Canelo's level? Nobody really. Canelo would have smashed every one of those 168 pounders that Ward and I think he could have even beaten Andre Ward. Like I do think that fight's a lot closer than what people think, man. I think people just going off, he was able to neutralize Froch and Kessler. You've got to understand, those guys don't have the skills of Canelo Alvarez. They don't have firstly, I would say Canelo's a bigger puncher than them. I think Canelo's a better boxer than them. He's got better head movement than them. He's got better feet than them. He's got a better boxing brain than them, Ash, I can't hear you properly. You're lagging.
I said his chin is the only thing you can compare. You know, like
Yeah,
Carl
and
Froch's
even
chin.
Canelo, and the worst thing is, you could probably say Canelo's chin's better than Froch's as well. Canelo's never been down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even that, and that's what I'm saying. Even Kessler, Kessler's not got the chin of Canelo. Canelo's not, here's the thing: what makes your chin good is the fact that Canelo's defensively very good. He don't get hit a lot. He's very, very, very good with his defense. You know, his head movement is unbelievable. So this is a thing that Ward never ever fought. Ward never fought anybody that had the head movement of Canelo, that had the boxing skills of Canelo. He never fought anyone.
The guys, you know, Canelo is a different animal. These guys
Ash, you can't hear you properly. It's like murmuring.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
What I'm saying is Andre Ward never hardly. I don't think he ever fought at Oakland. You know, so you know when you talk about greatness and how good he is, Canelo's fought everywhere, if you know what I mean. So like he's got the experiences of going out of his own home comforts and fight. It's like AJ. Look what happened to him when he went to New York. You know, he couldn't function. So literally things like that, you maybe think, oh, that's nothing to do with the fight, but them things count. And when you got a guy like Canelo who's got all them skills and he's got all the other attributes that go with it, like when he goes into these 100,000 crowds and he doesn't even batter the eyelid, and he just takes everything as nothing, and then he goes in and does what he does. It's just a different level. So these guys, they can't compare. I mean, you mean even like Bivol and these guys? Yeah, they maybe compare them to a certain level of where the skill level is maybe comparable. But when you go to event level and the capacities and the pressure and everything else that goes around the event of fighting Canelo, they crumble. So this is the thing. Caleb Plant, he can do whatever he likes. He can say whatever he likes. But when you get into these type of events, he's gonna get beat. He's gonna get hurt in this fight.
Mike, I want to bring you in, Mike. Canelo v Andre Ward. We were having a little debate. A lot of people seem to think that Ward would have schooled Canelo, this, that, and the other. But when you look down Ward's resume and you look at the fighters that he's fought, I think we have to be real here. He didn't really fight anybody on the level of Canelo Alvarez. How do you see that fight going if they're fought? Fantasy fight.
If they fought in their prime?
Yeah, so Canelo right now, we could say, is in his prime, and Andre Ward at 168. Is it a mismatch or is it a proper fight?
No, it's a great fight. It's a great competitive fight, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Andre Ward though, man. I think the size difference is too much, in my opinion. Andre Ward's a guy who even as an Olympian, he was a light heavyweight. So he was, at 168 he was huge already. 175, even though he doesn't have the same opposition, maybe like the guys that you guys brought up. I still we have to remember that he did beat a prime Kovalev though.
One second, let me just jump in there. He did it. He was small at 175, Imran. He was a small 175. So you can't say Andre Ward.
Yeah. He was. Yeah.
Kovalev was bigger than him, so he wasn't. So if you compare Canelo and Kovalev, he was bigger than Canelo. So I don't think he would have been bigger than Canelo that way. Mike's saying.
No, I mean you can see that Ward
he was small.
Yeah, you can see that Ward is a lot bigger than Canelo.
What I'm saying is,
if he was an Olympian at 175, how is he small?
Yeah, but
no. But the thing is, did you hear about Andre Ward's story though? Andre Ward, the reason why he fought at 175 is because there was another guy at 168, but he fought at a weight which wasn't natural to him. He fought at a weight which he wasn't supposed to really fight at. But Andre Ward was so great that he managed to win a gold medal at the Olympics at 175, I believe. But Virgil Hunter always speaks about this guy. Andre wasn't really meant to fight at 175. He had no choice because I think maybe there was Andre Durrell or someone that was fighting at the 168. So they knew that Ward could.
They didn't want to fight each other.
No. Ward said, I don't want to fight Darrell because he's my friend. And then Darrell was like, no, fuck that. I want to fight him. Proper mugged Ward off. But like...
Something like that. It was him, man. They were at the same weight. And they didn't want to... Because they were friends or whatever. They didn't want to fight. And then, I don't know about what Makai said. I never heard that bit. But if that's true, then yeah. But the fact of the matter is, I only compared it because Canelo's fought Kovalev and so did Andre Ward. And Andre Ward wasn't the bigger guy against Kovalev. And nor was Canelo. So he's saying the weight and size would be more difference. I don't think he would because he's not that bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit like
he's still, but you're still
when
we're still talking about a guy who's a solid 6 foot, 70 plus reach. So even if you think he's not a big light heavyweight, he finished his career at light heavyweight. Even if you think he lost to Kovalev the first fight, because I thought Kovalev, I thought the knockdown was a difference. So I felt Kovalev won the first fight, but he was super competitive. If they fight 2 or 3 more times, there's a good chance Andre Ward probably makes those adjustments and he beats Kovalev the second time. Of course, we saw the second time, but a third time, maybe a fourth time. So we could see that. We could see Ward can easily deal with light heavyweights, even if you don't think he's the biggest light heavyweight. So the size,
I will admit, with the Kovalev fights, Ward, he did.
I thought he lost that, Mike.
Ward loved hitting Kovalev
that first fight.
Yeah, the first one, right?
Yeah. I thought he won that first one. I was impressed with Ward for the way he came back. But if you want to ask me honestly, I don't think he won that first fight. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I agree. I just said that right now, right? That I thought that the knockdown was a difference for Kovalev.
Yeah.
To me, that was the difference of the fight. I gave Kovalev the edge, but again, it was still a competitive fight. It was a very competitive fight all the way. And Andre Ward, I felt like Andre Ward was kind of making the adjustments, was starting to look better in the second part of the fight. So even going into the second fight, I felt like Andre Ward kind of figured some things out. And Andre, here's another thing. Andre Ward is not known as a guy who's a big puncher, right? And he was still able to hurt Kovalev because he's just that big. Like, in other words, he's really a natural middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight type of dude. So if I put him next to Canelo Alvarez, I feel like Canelo Alvarez is maxing out at super middleweight.
Why is there echo?
I don't know.
Someone's. Okay, it's gone better. Yeah.
So overall, man, I just think that Andre Ward probably has more ways of beating Canelo Alvarez. I think it's a competitive fight, but I think that Andre Ward, if he has to make the fight dirty, if he has to hold, if he has to manage, if he has to do whatever he has to do, I think he'll do that and he'll win a decision, in my opinion. He'll keep Canelo on the outside. He'll use his athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll be slick, and he might not beat Canelo Alvarez in a dominating fashion, but I think he has more ways. Let's put it like this. I think the task for Canelo Alvarez is much harder than it is for Andre Ward.
Mike, would I ask you this? If Canelo Alvarez was to beat Beterbiev and Bivol, would your opinion change? Because this is what I was saying earlier to Stephen. That Canelo Alvarez seems to me he's still improving. He's getting better. We don't know what his ceiling's at. We don't know where this is going to end. It doesn't look like he's slowing down. It doesn't look like, it seems to me he's getting better and better and better. So if he was to continue and go on to smash Beterbiev and beat Bivol, would your opinion change on that fight?
No question. No question. Of course it would change. That's part of the debate, because we just haven't seen Canelo Alvarez at light heavyweight. If he goes out there and he beats Bivol, if he goes out there and he beats Beterbiev, then of course my opinion is going to change big time. I'm probably going to give him the benefit of the doubt. now. You know what I'm saying? So because now he's going to show us different things. Now he's going to show us, okay, he could deal with this, he could deal with that, he could deal with the punching power here, he could deal with the athleticism here, he could deal with the overall weight of the weight class, you know, because remember he did look somewhat sluggish versus Kovalev. Even Reynoso said it. So if he's acclimated and we're seeing him beat these top level guys, then of course I'm gonna give Canelo Alvarez like the benefit of the doubt. But when I see that, you know, when I see Andre Ward, who pretty much made a living, his career, his Hall of Fame career in those weight classes, it's tough for me to just give Canelo the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you there. I think as of right now, with what Canelo's done in those weight classes, you have to give Ward the benefit of the doubt. However, if Canelo Alvarez was to, obviously beating Plant would be a step in the right direction, but even beating Plant, because Andre Ward, we would favor to beat all of those guys as well, and convincingly.
Right. So, you know what kind of bothers me though a little bit? It's not that it bothers me, but I'm already kind of like projecting this, is that I don't like this hypothetical matchup, because I think in a way it's kind of unfair for Canelo Alvarez. And I think that if he were to go up and like challenge a Bivol or a better Biev and he were to lose, I think that in a lot of ways they're gonna discredit Canelo and they're gonna say that he's not that great because of these matchups. And that's one of the things that I don't like about these hypotheticals, even with a guy like Andre Ward, because I feel like we're putting Canelo Alvarez in these situations where, because he's that good, that they're you know, the people are out there crying and wanting fucking Andre Ward to come out of retirement, and it's like, oh, you know, we want Andre Ward, bring Andre Ward so he could beat Canelo Alvarez. And it's like, wait a minute, dude, like Andre Ward is, you know, he's the big dude, bro. He's the Goliath. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the Goliath. So Andre Ward beating Canelo Alvarez is not as impressive. We need to keep that real, because Andre Ward is natural. You know, he's a Hall of Famer. He was an undefeated fighter. He's a bigger dude. So the task for Canelo. So if Canelo were to beat Andre Ward, I mean, think about, man. Imagine that. Like that would be. First of all, that would probably be his greatest win on his resume right now, even over Triple G. So, and if he beats Andre Ward, then they're going to start bringing up other hypotheticals of like, how would he do versus a guy like Roy Jones Jr., or how would he do versus a guy like this and that? They're going to start putting him on a different tier. So beating Andre Ward would put Canelo Alvarez in a completely different fucking stratosphere. So that's why it's hard for me to give Canelo Alvarez the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree.
How do you want? Let me. How do you agree with that? I don't understand. He's beating Andre Ward. He's going to be in a different stratosphere. You know how many champions he's already beaten? Canelo, Hall of Famers already on his resume.
But in lower weight classes, Ash. It was lower weight classes.
That's where he is, though. But that's where he is. But that's where he is. You can't compare Canelo to Andre Ward. Andre Ward didn't move out his weight division unless right at the end just to make some money. He went up and still, then he didn't make much money.
What do you guys think is a more impressive win? Canelo beating Golovkin or Canelo beating Ward? What do you think is more impressive?
This Ward?
Obviously, no, like the Prime Ward.
Oh, no, Prime Ward. It has to be Prime Ward.
I mean, there's definitely, I'll probably go with Ward, but there's definitely an argument. I mean, Golovkin, undefeated, the most feared middleweight. Literally no one wanted to fight.
Like, no, Golovkin's a beast, bro. Golovkin's a monster. But my thing is this. We're just talking about 1v1 matchups. So if we're not talking about greatness, we're not talking about greatness here.
Canelo's greater than Ward. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Canelo's greater than Ward. When he retires, he's gonna have a greater legacy. He already has probably a greater legacy. But if we're talking 1v1. Right, that's a completely different topic.
What I'm saying is, okay, Imran, Canelo, who's he for at 168?
Who's Canelo for at 168?
Yeah,
he's fought Billy Joe, Callum Smith, and now he's going to fight Caleb Plant.
Yeah, but why you can't compare it is because Andre Ward's had majority of his career at 168. So you can't say, you got to just compare the guys he's fought right now in this era that are at that level. There's no one at that level of Andre Ward. You get what I mean?
No, but what Mike's saying is that that's why Mike's saying that I have to give Andre Ward the benefit of the doubt if they fought in a 1-to-1 matchup because of the fact that he's bigger and he's fought bigger men. Because Canelo's fought better guys in his lower weight classes, but Andre Ward's fought bigger men. He's fought bigger, stronger men, you know? So it's different. It's different. Although Canelo's fought the better opposition, they're smaller.
Yeah, but no, Canelo come up from 150, 147, didn't he? So he's always been fighting bigger guys, you know, because he's come up. He's going up weight classes. He's fighting bigger guys. The guy he fought Kovalev, he was bigger than him. He fought Liam Smith, or what is that? One of them guys. Look how big he was.
Callum Smith.
And Callum Smith, look how big he was. And then every guy, since he's gone up from 160, Golovkin was bigger than him. Johnny Jacob was give or take bigger than him. You know, all these guys are bigger than him as well. So you can't say he's fighting small guys. The only small guy he fought was like Cotto, maybe Amir Khan. You know,
I think
a couple of guys like that.
I think it's this. I mean, obviously, most people say Ward would beat Canelo because obviously he's bigger than him, right? Callum Smith, and then they'll use the argument saying, "Oh, Canelo, but he's fought bigger guys. He's fought Saunders, Callum Smith, but they're not on the level of Ward, if you know what I mean." So, like a good big guy always beats a good small guy, and that's where I think it comes into play. Ward, that's why I think Ward would beat Canelo because, I mean, Canelo, he fought Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, they're bigger than him, but I mean, Ward's better than them. Ward's a skilled big guy, and Canelo's also skilled, but he's bigger than Canelo.
Here's what Mike's saying, though. Mike's saying that it's an open question still. He's not grounding and saying that Andre Ward would beat Canelo in the sense that he said right now, off their careers at 168, right now, I would give the benefit of doubt to Andre Ward. However, if Canelo Alvarez goes and beats a Beterbiev, goes and beats a Bivol, which I know, Ash, you think he will, right? Then, as Mike said, that he thinks then you have to change your opinion about it because Canelo's proven he's even greater than Andre Ward in those weight classes, right? Because he would have beaten killers back to back.
You can't compare until he does that then, because if you're comparing his 90% career compared to 3 fights, then obviously Andre Ward's going to be favored.
Here's another thing, guys. If Ward wasn't this big of a factor, I think Triple G would have moved up to 168, and he never did. Yeah. So it's pretty clear that they felt that he was a big threat. And I'm talking about Triple G when Triple G was a fucking beast. All right. So he chose not to move up, and Andre Ward was up there. So he's not a joke, man. I mean, Andre Ward is not a joke. I'm not saying that he's the best fighter I've ever seen as a super middleweight or anything like that. But he achieved a lot of good things. You know what I mean? He was undefeated. He won that Super Series shit. He was almost undisputed. And then he beat the man at 175 in the Crusher when he was a Crusher. So we can't just ignore those things. You know, we can't just ignore those things and pretend that this guy's a scrub.
Okay.
I think I'm saying that
you can't say he beat Kovalev then if you're gonna say all that. You can't say hand on heart he beat Kovalev the first fight.
No, but I'm saying overall, bro, in 2 fights, he won the second fight. Even if we all agree that he lost the first fight against Kovalev, it was super close.
Okay.
So I'm not going to kill Andre Ward for losing a close fight, man, because that means that Andre Ward is still very competitive. If they had a series, if they had a series of 3 out of 5 series, who's to say Andre Ward doesn't win that series?
Look, I'll tell you something now. Triple G for Canelo, right? Canelo didn't get dropped, but arguably lost the first fight. Yeah? Second fight, there's no question he won that fight. When you go to Andre Ward's fight with Kovalev, he got dropped the first fight. He was hurt. Second fight, I don't know what happened there. I mean, he somehow won it, fair enough. But it wasn't like a good showing from him. So,
I still think Canelo Golovkin rematch was close. There's still an argument on that.
Makai, is that coming from your end? There's too much noise, man. There's too much noise. We can't.
It's not bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise from someone's.
Yeah.
Who was talking? Okay, yeah, Ash.
Yeah.
What I was saying was, you're saying about the weight and the size in it, and obviously Underwood's like too much of a big, strong guy, but when Canelo's fought guys that are big and stronger and had rematches, he only had a rematch with Triple G. He won him kind of convincingly the second time, I think, anyway, in my eyes. But the first time round, he didn't get dropped or anything. So, you know, he's if you're trying to compare fights where Underwood's like you're trying to say, look, he went there and he did that to Kovalev, you got to give him respect. Then you got to give the same respect to Canelo, where what he did to Triple G, no one's done. So, you know, you can't compare them like that.
What? Who was?
No, I do. I am giving Canelo credit, bro, but that's kind of like I don't know. It's like it's a different topic, kind of. You know, it's you know, Canelo versus Triple G is one fight, and then Canelo versus Andre Ward is a completely different fight. You know, different styles, different size, different game plan, different approach. You know, it's a different fight, man. But I mean, Imran already said it. Imran already said it, man. I mean, like I think I was already pretty clear with like my stance. You know, like if Canelo goes up and he beats Better Biv, he beats Bivol, or at least we see him with one of these guys, and he has an impressive performance or a good performance, then you know, I'm gonna be with you, you know, with Ash or everybody else here who thinks that maybe Canelo. But I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt right now, and that's not putting Canelo down, because Canelo to me is you know, he's got a greater legacy. I'm just talking about that 1v1. I'm not so sure.
Yeah. It's a definitely it definitely would have been a great fight. But I think the thing is with this, what about right now though, Mike? If Ward was to come out of retirement, because there is talk about it, right? And Ward's not that old. Ward could come back. He's not an old man, and he keeps himself in good shape. Do you think there's a possibility Ward could beat Canelo now, or do you think he's out? You know, he's not in the rhythm. He'll be too inactive.
Well, for sure, right? For sure, Canelo's going to have a better chance right now.
Yeah.
But again, that fight, if that were to happen, it's going to happen at light heavyweight. There's no way Andre Ward comes down to 168. So in a lot of ways, that fight is not that realistic. And Ward just kind of comes off as a type of guy who, like, unless he feels 100% that he's not giving up any disadvantage at all, he's not going to come back. He's not going to come back, because he's even said himself, I think, if I did come back, I would have to take like 2 or 3 tune-up fights before I would even fight Canelo Alvarez. So he's not going to just take a chance and come back and then get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. But if that fight were to happen, I think that it's kind of one of those fights that's almost like you could flip a coin. It's almost impossible to predict, because you can see, like, nobody would be surprised however the fight goes, like on either way. Like if we saw Canelo beat Andre Ward, nobody's gonna be shocked. And of course, people are gonna say, well, Andre Ward, you know, he was out the game, he was rusty, blah blah blah. And if Andre Ward were to beat Canelo Alvarez, then people would maybe not be as surprised either. They would just say, well, Andre Ward is Andre Ward, and he's a naturally bigger guy, because the size, if Andre Ward beats Canelo Alvarez, the size has to play a factor, man. It has to. If it doesn't play a factor, then Canelo beats him. There is no way that Andre Ward goes into a fight versus Canelo Alvarez and not use those advantages. It would be stupid. It would just be dumb for him not to use his height, his reach, his range. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the advantage that he has. So why wouldn't he use that? So the size is definitely going to be a factor. So I don't know, man. Like, it would be. I mean, I guess it's up for debate, but I really don't know. I'll be curious to see who would be favored going into the fight, like what the betting odds would be, because I wouldn't even know that. I'm not even 100% sure if Canelo would be favored. He might, because he's the man right now, and they usually tend to favor the fighter that's in the moment. But I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? I guess it would just depend on how Andre Ward would look, how rusty he'd look, because even though he's been out the game, he's a guy who takes care of himself. You know, he's not a guy who's out there drinking, who's reckless. You know, he's always staying in shape. He's a smart dude. So who knows? Even if he would come back. I mean, remember Sugar Ray Leonard came back after like a 3-4 year hiatus, and he beat Marvin Hagler.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're a great athlete, you know, you never know.
I'd love to see him come back and fight Golovkin first, and then go in with Canelo. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Golovkin and Canelo will destroy Ward now.
Yeah.
To me, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think Ward. It's a dangerous fight for Ward, though, isn't it? Like right now, you know, because Canelo right now is, like I said, even if he fought Canelo in his prime, as we said, Mike, Ward hasn't really fought anyone as good as Canelo. So even then, looking at it that way, it's a tough fight. But now, after a couple of years out, you'd have to give. And you know how you say, well, you know how Ward's the bigger guy and stuff. Yeah. I actually give Ward a huge amount of credit if he was to fight Canelo right now, because for me, he's not in his prime, irrespective whether he's the bigger guy. I don't think Ward's he's not nowhere near his prime. Even when he fought Kovalev, was he really in his prime? Ward? He was inactive. He was out for a year. I know he had a couple of tune-up fights, but it's debatable whether he was in his prime when he fought Kovalev. That was ages ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was in his prime in terms of his age. I mean, he was 32, 33, so I wouldn't consider that to be old. But yeah, right now I agree with you 100%. Right now, but that's kind of that's the reason why I don't think he would come back, because he's thinking the way you're thinking right now. You know, it's not going to be easy to come back and then fight Canelo Alvarez. But I just think, look, overall, man, this is just my criteria. I'm big when it comes to size differences. You know, I just seen it enough in the history of boxing to where I know these things play a huge role in fights. We saw what happened when Rigondeaux went up. We know Rigondeaux's a great fighter. Look what he did with. I know he didn't fight with Casimiro. You know, he didn't really do shit, but they barely touched the guy, right? They barely touched him. But when he fought Lomachenko completely just dominated. I mean, he made him quit. He made him quit. So you know, these size matters, man. You know, it matters a lot. You rarely see, if you look at the history of boxing, you rarely see, like Makai said, a great little guy beat a great big guy. It's not common.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, size does matter. It does matter when you're talking about elite level fighters. It matters, man. It matters.
Yes, it matters a lot.
That's why not many people.
The only fighter that I can think of that's kind of you know, is a fighter who's kind of bent that truth, or not bent it, but kind of like turned that on its head, is probably Manny Pacquiao. That's the only guy that I can think of that was constantly.
Roy Jones as well. Roy Jones.
Yeah, Roy Jones. Yeah. I don't know whether Roy Jones moved up and fought the level of opposition that Manny Pacquiao did.
Roy made everyone look silly. Everyone. Tony Hopkins.
But he wasn't fighting the level of
175.
Kazagi batted him, man.
Come on, man. Roy Jones not even had any legs when he fought Kazagi.
What did he go in there then?
Roy would have spanked Kazagi in his prime.
Kazagi beat the F out of him, man.
Pre-heavyweight Roy Jones.
What do you guys think about that? Do you think Kazagi would beat Roy Jones in his prime, Mike?
No way.
I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
The Welsh power, man. Don't you think the Welsh power?
I think he would give Roy Jones a hell of a fight, though. A hell of a fight. I think Calzagi's underrated, man. I think Calzagi's underrated.
Great fighter.
No, Calzagi's rated, but just not as good as Roy Jones, though, isn't it?
Ahmed don't rate him, though. Ahmed, you don't rate him, any?
I rate Calzagi.
You said that.
I would consider that. I would consider, especially what are we talking about? Light heavyweight here, right? I would consider that. I would consider that a 50-50 fight.
No, not in Roy's prime.
The thing about Roy, this is my beef with Roy, is that later on in his career, and I know we didn't see this earlier in his career, but later on in his career, I have to question the chin a little bit, man. I have to question the chin. The way he got knocked out at light heavyweight made me question that he might have been packing a little bit of glass in there, and we just didn't see it until later on.
Yeah, do you know why? Because
he's right. Mike, I agree with you on that one.
He moved up at a late age to heavyweight. He beat John Ruiz comfortably. Came back down at the age of 35. Lost muscle.
He's the weakest champion, man. At the weight.
Water as well, and he still beat Antonio Tarver at his weakest. Yeah, and but he
got knocked out after.
Tell he was clearly past it as well.
It's a bit like this. When Roy was in his prime, you know, his fundamentals, when you think about it, he wasn't really great. He was just so gifted. He could just see punches coming from anywhere, and he was so fast. And then as soon as he got older and he was out of his prime, he started getting knocked out because he wasn't as fast as he was. His reflexes weren't the same. That's why we saw him get knocked out. That's the reason why. In his prime, he was very gifted. So he got away with things like that.
James Toney, Bernard Hopkins, Mike McCullum, all of them look ordinary.
Yeah. Like
Mike McCullum was past his prime, though.
But then when Roy got older, his reflexes were out the window. And then the fundamentals were important.
But how often?
His fundamentals weren't really that great. That's why he got knocked out.
Yeah, but
guys, how often did we see Roy Jones Jr. get hit flush?
Never. In his prime, we never really saw him.
Exactly.
He's too good, isn't it? He's too good. He was too good.
Yeah. So that's my thing. That's my thing. If he doesn't get hit, then he dominates.
He did get hit. He did get hit, but only with one punch.
Punchers.
Nobody hit him with 2 or 3 punches on the bounce. He could only
James Toney didn't do shit. You know, James Toney had power. He didn't do shit. He didn't really hit. Hopkins land anything significant.
Roy's chin's definitely very questionable. I agree with Mike.
But Hopkins is not a puncher. Hopkins is not a puncher either. Like, I'm talking about an actual puncher. A puncher.
The top fighters, though, it's like Tarver. I mean, Tarver, even before the Roy Jones went to heavyweight, wouldn't have knocked Roy out.
What Dundada said, yeah, that's true. Roy Jones Jr. and he's athletic prime is almost unbeatable. But when he lost his reflexes, see, when he got older, he was average fighter, and then we saw him get knocked out.
Yes,
his chin has never been that good, and we saw that when he lost his reflexes and all that. His chin, I don't think it was ever really that great. He was just so good you can hit him.
The fighter is rated in his prime. If somebody after his prime tries rating what he's done after his prime, that's not good, is it? A fighter is based on his prime.
Yeah.
You know, and he had such a long prime from 154, 160, 168, 175, dominating, making it look easy at 175, not doing a Canelo, just timing someone, you know, at 175, quickly coming back down. He stayed at 175, dominated everyone from 154, and then went to heavyweight.
It's a bit like this, you know. Obviously, Roy Jones, as he got older, he was getting knocked out. Yeah, you could definitely use that argument. He was washed, but I mean, look at Pacquiao. I mean, the guy's like 42. I mean, he can still take. We saw him take flipping huge punch from Ugas. That guy's been in wars and everything, and we've still saw Pacquiao take it. And you just look at how Roy. Look at how Roy got. Let me talk. You got
one at a time.
Pacquiao was beaten in his prime. Roy was not beaten. Roy was untouchable.
But Makai, here's another thing too. We're saying this in hindsight. When Tarver beat Roy Jones Jr., Jones Jr. was heavily favored, bro. Nobody was saying he was past his prime. Nobody was saying that. He had just beat Reese. He had just beat Reese at heavyweight, man.
Did he beat Tarver or not after coming down from heavyweight?
Yes.
So he proved it. Anything else is out? No, he done what he needed to do. But what I'm trying to say is Pacquiao in his prime.
Why did they have a rematch? Why did they have a rematch?
I mean, I don't think it's right to compare Pacquiao with it though, because I mean Pacquiao, he moved up 8 weight divisions, and like the guys at 42, and he's still taking. You just need to look at how Roy got knocked out when people didn't think he was out of his prime or anything. That definitely makes it questionable in his prime. If he did get hit well, he probably would have went down. I mean, that I believe, Mike. I think his chin is very questionable because he was older when he was getting knocked out, but how he was getting knocked out. I mean,
by the way,
it like that.
Hold on.
By the way, let me. I want to bring something up right now that kind of ties in with this. It was brought up earlier in the stream. It was brought up earlier in the stream, and I feel like it's a good segue for me to bring it up with Roy Jones Jr. because there's some double standards here. But I don't know if you guys remember this, but Roy Jones Jr. failed the drug test for testosterone steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, he did.
He's failed. Hold on. No. So he's failed. He's failed.
Mike,
so he's failed drug tests before, and I could mention more names out there. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I wanted to chime in on something that Imran said, where people are saying, is Canelo's legacy going to have an asterisk? So my thing is this, though. When we're talking about PEDs, because PEDs are so it's a complex topic. People need to take every situation on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
You have to do it. So if we're Canelo Alvarez and Andre Ward, when this whole Valdez shit that happened, and Andre Ward brought up the fact that Canelo failed the drug test, I don't know why people are still talking about the Canelo shit when he was already exonerated years ago. And I'm talking about exonerated based on the science and based on opinions from PED experts. The same dudes that Mike Coppinger was using to fucking to quote on the Valdez issue, Victor Conte literally said on Steve Kim's podcast, I believe that Canelo Alvarez is innocent. Memo Heredia, who's also a fucking PED expert, I remember him having a video. I remember having the video. I had the actual quote. I have it here. This is from Memo Heredia, right? So this is a guy that used to compete. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he used to compete with Victor Conte. He's a dude that was training Juan Manuel Marquez. He said himself, based on the studies and the amounts Canelo had, the traces were extremely low. In my opinion, Canelo's innocent. We are talking about a clen that has a half-life of approximately 28 to 36 hours. Taking this into account and doing the calculations plus urinary concentrations, the traces are so low that it's not possible that Canelo could have taken a pill of that amount 1 day or 5 days prior. The report stated that the levels were 0.6 to 0.8 and then 0.06 to 0.08 4 days later. It means that it is impossible for Canelo to have taken a substance days prior with less than a nanogram in his urine. Based on these facts, Canelo is innocent, and this was meat contamination. He also had a hair follicle test, which for the people who don't know this, they made Canelo Alvarez take a hair follicle test, which goes back 3 months prior to the failed test. It came back negative. There was no traces of clenbuterol. Why the fuck are people still talking about this shit? That's what I don't understand, man.
Because
first going on the Roy Jones thing, when there was a doubt about him, he fought Richard Hall, and they both found out with the same substance. Don't forget. When he got caught.
Right, yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make, man, is that in Canelo's case, compared to Valdez, is two completely different drugs. They're in the same camp, but it's two completely different drugs. Clenbuterol, there's NFL football players. I'm talking to the NFL. There's a game in Azteca Stadium that happens every year. A professional NFL game that happens at Azteca Stadium. There's been professional NFL players who have tested positive for clenbuterol, and they're exonerated for the same reason.
Yeah, Mike, I heard about that. The whole football team tested positive for the exact same thing Canelo did, and obviously Mike in the Chat just said that's in their meat. It's in the meat in Mexico. I didn't know that.
This is a massive problem in Mexico, but people think it's a joke.
Yeah,
people actually think it's a joke because for whatever reason, because they're either ignorant or they don't want to read about it or whatever. There was a World Cup. There's another thing. There was a World Cup. I think it was under 17. A World Cup under 17 that happened in Mexico. We're talking about teenagers here. Teenagers. There were more than 200 players from different countries who failed drug tests for clenbuterol. That's not a coincidence, man. That was in Mexico. And there were trace amounts. They were all trace amounts. You guys could Google this, look into this, whatever. But regardless of whether we want to give them the benefit of the doubt or not, the science proves, and PD experts, not my opinion, not our opinion, but the actual PD experts are saying this. So my thing is this: if we're gonna give a pass to, Roy Jones Jr. or these other fighters who are failing drug tests for fucking steroids. Mosley for EPO, fucking HGH. Why is Canelo going to have an asterisk for fucking clenbuterol when he was exonerated? I don't understand that.
Yeah, but when Roy fought Richard Hall, they were both on the same substance. They couldn't do anything to Roy.
I get that, bro. But what I'm trying to say is that whoever says Roy Jones Jr. has an asterisk, who says that?
It's a bit like this. What he's trying to say is that they're getting a pass and Canelo is not. I mean, people are flipping still talking about it. Like,
yes.
Right. Valdez, obviously, he's obviously against Bogan now because it just happened. But, like, they're the only two. But then Valdez is going to go down soon. People are still going to talk about Canelo. Like, he's the only guy I see that's mentioned with steroids still. Like, no other fighter I'm seeing get mentioned with it. I mean, even with Tyson Fury, he tested positive for something. No one mentions that.
James Toney has failed multiple drug tests. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could go on and on and on and on, man. Like the thing is that, dude, is that I don't understand these double standards. They were hammering Valdez. I'm not saying Valdez is innocent because he hasn't done anything. There hasn't been like a big investigation like what happened with Canelo. Canelo, they did a massive investigation. He complied with the investigation. He was like, yeah, whatever you guys need, you want me to do this test, I'll do it, right? But it's a completely different drug. So I'm not going to say Valdez is 100% innocent because he even says himself, I don't even know how I got that, right? But in the case of clenbuterol, they even changed the threshold. WADA changed the threshold. So it's higher now. So when they get tested with VADA, VADA is so sensitive, the testing is so sensitive that you could fail a drug test for trace amounts. So that could make you look bad because you fail a drug test, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you were intentionally trying to cheat. So they even reduced the suspension for Canelo Alvarez because of that. He was supposed to be suspended for 1 year, and they reduced it to 6 months.
Yeah, so I mean, exactly.
So it's I know that it's a complicated situation, like or a topic, right? Like I'm not an expert, but I kind of have an understanding of this a little bit because I have a degree in exercise sports science, so I have like a foundation, and I'm in the gym and I've trained people before, and I know people who do steroids and all that shit. But I'm not claiming to be an expert, right? But I'm going based on the science, so I can understand at least the science and how that works and how drugs are different. So I think it's unfair that they continue to bring this up, and even in a podcast recently, Andre Ward was in a Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe Rogan blatantly said, like, come on, dude, like, Roy Jones Jr. went up there and he had to be on steroids, right? And Ward is like, I'm not going to say anything, man. I'm not going to say that's the guy I grew up watching. I'm not going to criticize him, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like, wait a minute, dude. Like, so because he's your boy, you're not going to say anything, but you want to hammer Valdez. You want to hammer the whole camp over some other shit that you don't even know about. It's like, come on, man. Like, I just don't. It's ridiculous, man. Like, I don't agree with that.
You know what also is as well?
Standards, they might.
Yeah. Do you know what also is as well? People's like, oh, look how big Canelo got all of a sudden. Yes. Right, you need to understand, the guy is only 30. Right. They're talking about, this is like 5 years ago they're talking about this still. 4 years ago, like, oh, he's all of a sudden getting a lot bigger. Yes, because he's like 25. Your body stops growing until you're 30. I mean, he was still very young. He's going to be growing.
Like,
they're professional athletes, man. They're professional athletes. Like these people are so ignorant. They don't even they can't even understand, man, that you know, we can all build, you know, a muscle, a physique with hard work. It doesn't. It's not all steroids. These guys aren't bodybuilders. And all you got to do, man. Look, if people really want to know how big or how much muscle, let's just assuming that, you know, they think that someone's more muscular. All you got to do is look at the weigh-ins, because you're in the same state. But these morons, they'll post a picture, man, when Canelo's cutting, right, and he's like sucked up, and then they'll compare it to a picture when he's like, you know, 3 months prior to a fight where he's got water, weight, and fat all over him, and they're like, look at the size difference, and it's like, dude, you can't compare bodies in that state. You have to compare them in the same state. So compare them when he's in the weigh-in, for example, and you'll notice that Canelo hasn't grown, or there hasn't been anything shocking in terms of his growth. It's not like when you saw another guy that people question, Vander Holyfield. Did you see? Do you remember Vander Holyfield when he was a cruiserweight, and then how he grew when he was a heavyweight, and he was connected to a person that was also dealing steroids.
Yeah, I mean,
so
exactly.
I mean, you know, it's. I mean, people are gonna say what they want to say, man. But at the end of the day, I feel like we should treat each case, you know, on an individual basis, and then study that case, do an investigation. WADA and VADA should get on the same page, because clearly they're not on the same page, and that creates even more controversy. And because, you know, there was an issue with in terms of like WADA saying that Valdez that had no benefit, so you know, it was cool. They allowed the fight to go on, and then VADA was like, nah, hell no, right? So I don't know, man. To me, it's just a mess, and I think it's unfair, especially if you're really innocent. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand that.
Yeah, you know what they also do, is that I've noticed is that they find an old photo of Canelo is when he started his pro career. Obviously, he was like 15, so yeah, he's very skinny. And then they show like a photo of him when he was like 28, like ripped. He says, "Oh, and you don't think this guy's on steroids, mate?" Okay, and right, let me say, how old are you? Oh, I'm 30. Do you still look the same as you were when you were 15? Like, come on, it's getting ridiculous now. Like, his body's growing. It's going to happen to me. I'm gonna when I'm getting to my 30, I'm not gonna look the same. I'm gonna get bigger and everything. It's not steroids. It's a lot of it has got to do with age.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with what you. I think there's like an agenda with Canelo as well. Like, you know, I feel like some fighters Canelo never gets surpassed, man. Either it's his resume or it's something to do with the meat that it's just always some kind of excuse. You know what I mean?
Even American. If it was American, it would be different.
When Caleb Plant went on that rant, you know, with the whole Valdez, and he started bringing up Canelo and all that, Dan Rafael, bro, had to fucking send Caleb Plant a direct tweet of an article that Dan Rafael posted where he had to talk to a bunch of doctors to kind of find out like what happened in Canelo's case. You guys could look it up. It's on Google. And he even told Caleb Plant, he said, "Hey, man, with all due respect, read this." And I think Caleb Plant shut up after that. But again, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, why are people bringing this up when that's the past already, man? You know, that's the past. Like, how many drug tests has he failed after that? None. So, you know, Timothy Bradley's out there talking about, oh, I've seen improved stamina from Canelo Alvarez. Like, what are you talking about, man? So do you guys believe in the drug testing or not? Because if you don't believe in the drug testing, then you're basically making assumptions, right? So I'm going to make an assumption about Timothy Bradley too, bro, because nobody looked like you physically, at least. Nobody looked like you. You look ripped every single time. So it's like a lot of contradictions, man, going on. I don't understand. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, you have to, if a guy is cleared, then that's it. Leave it alone, right? And then go on to the next to the next phase.
And do you know what else makes me laugh is that it's impossible. Right, see, we're still getting Canelo's on steroids now. Yeah, it's impossible for Canelo to actually take some because he's fought 4 times in like 11 months.
and he's passed all these VADA tests. The steroids won't go out of your system like they're just like that. It stays in there for ages. And he's fought 4 times in 11 months. He was always going to get caught if he was on steroids, and he hasn't. He's passed all these VADA tests. So it's literally impossible for him to be on it. That's what I'm saying.
He's beef tested almost year round, basically.
Yeah, literally.
I want to give a shout out to Sunil Desai. He goes, great work, man. Nice to see you reach so many followers since you first started. Sunil was basically one of my mates that I studied with at uni, and he's from India. Like we went to Loughborough Uni together, and we studied together. We did our masters together, and he's from India, so I'm quite surprised he's chimed into the live stream. Not a huge boxing fan, but I appreciate the super chat, Sunil, man. Nice hearing from you, man. Message me on Facebook. I would love to get in touch with you again, or when you're back in the UK. Yes, I just thought I'd give him a shout out. But yeah, back to talking about Canelo.
We could change the subject now, man. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because I got in the stream a little bit late.
Yeah, let's change it, man. Let's change it, bro. Mike, Evander Holyfield, man. What did you make of that yesterday? That was horrible.
I didn't even watch it, man. I didn't even want to watch it. I saw some of the clips, the highlights. I mean, that's a joke. But I mean, he chose. I mean, Evander's always been a warrior, so I don't question his heart. So, but that was just pathetic, man. That they're letting him fight, and I mean, it's a clown show, man. These guys are just clowns. I don't know what the hell Vitor Belfort is out there like fucking celebrating like he beat a fucking prime Evander and shit. So, but it's just about the money, I guess, man. I mean, if people are willing to watch it, then that's how it goes.
But the thing is, though, Mike, was Evander Holyfield he's an all-time great, a legendary fighter. How sad was that to watch a guy of his stature being bashed about by a MMA fighter?
It's sad, man. It's sad, but I mean, that's the way. I mean, we've seen this many times, right? Like just in the history of boxing, like even whether it's an exhibition or not, we see guys in boxing where they stay too long and you see them get pummeled and beat to shit. So, I mean, it sucks that that he had to we had to see something like that because it's just not a good look.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Not a good look. And you know what? The worst thing is he came out and he said he wanted a rematch, and he said he wanted to fight Mike Tyson in a trilogy, Mike.
No, I mean that's someone needs to talk to Evander, man, and be like, hey, bro, you gotta chill, man, because this is not a good thing. This is you gotta take care of your health.
His kids told him not to fight. They were like, Dad, don't fight. But I don't know, if your kids can't get it through to you, then I don't know, man. I don't know. We might see more of this stuff, because we all know the broadcasters and promoters, they're gonna want it because it's viewership, it's money, right?
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, Trilla's going to be around now. Trilla's going to be around forever. We're going to be getting these clown events now. Like rappers fighting each other. Probably it's ridiculous. And I mean, you're getting like idiots like making it worse for us fans because they're saying, "Oh, it's helping boxing." No, it's not. Jake Paul's been in obviously boxing now. I don't see no improvements or anything. I just see him turning into a circus even more. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. Now I really hope these things stop, but they're just not. I mean, Trilla's there now. It's there, and people are always going to watch it. I mean, it attracts like little kids as well, like teenagers that interests them, so it's always going to get big views and everything. So yeah, I don't think it's going to go.
Should it be banned though, Mike? Should allowing 58-year-olds to fight be banned, or 50-year-olds or whatever?
That's tough, man. Because I mean, it probably should. I mean, they should have a limit or something, some type of I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know, because I mean, these guys are adults, it's hard to, if that's what they want to do, then it is what it is. And of course, like they're trying to make money. But yeah, I think they have to. I don't know who allows the fights. I don't know if it's the states, the commissions or whatever. But there has to be some type of rule or consideration, and for the health of athletes and fighters, where they need to be screened or something. You can't, because I mean, even Holyfield came in like on short notice. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So but I mean, it is what it is. If that's what they want to do, then I guess that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm saying?
What?
I'm saying, everyone's complaining about Triller, all these events, yeah, saying it's ruining the sport, but isn't it already ruined? I mean, you've got guys not even fighting each other, protecting their own. Yeah, you're absolutely right, but you think Triller's helping that? You think Triller's going to improve that? It's just going to make it even worse, isn't it? If you think about it, it's just going to make boxing even worse. So, I mean, there's no point mentioning that, because it's not every boxer that's doing it. We're still getting some good fights about boxers you actually want to fight, but Triller is just going to make it worse and worse. So people need to stop mentioning that, because I'm seeing a lot of that, and it's coming from boxing fans as well, which is ridiculous.
I'm thinking it's going to die out, man. It's like a trendy thing right now, and it's eventually going to die out. People are going to get tired of it, but
I hope.
We'll see.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. Guys, man, I'm going to claw this live stream to an end. It's been long. Mike, Mackay, any final words? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. We'll talk soon.
All time, man. Anytime.
Same, man. We'll do this next time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow again. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on, Mike, Mackay, Stephen, everyone that came on, everyone in the chat. Great talking to you guys as always. And hopefully we have some news to talk about tomorrow.
I hope. See you soon.
Peace,
care, guys.
Peace.
Man, take care, guys. Take care, everyone. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys. Yeah, drop the videos I put up today. Yeah, cheers, Greg. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention you. Cheers, Greg. Appreciate you being in the chat. Appreciate everyone. Likestra, Eric, Tellez, Shad. Appreciate you. Don Dada. Don Dada's always here, man. Don Dada's he's always here. Evander Holyfield, great having you. Juan Gonzalez, great having you. Ray, my man Ray, great having you in the Alex Black, great having you. Just going through some of the names. Greg, I've mentioned Greg already. Likestra, my man Likestra, peace, man. Please take care, everyone. Have a great end to the weekend, and have a great week, up and coming week as well. Peace, guys. Take care.